Robbie Williams Rewind.
Welcome to Robbie Williams Rewind. We are the champions. I'm Matt.
And I'm Lucy.
And along with help from special guest fans, we take you on an in-depth rewind through the solo career of multi-award-winning singer, songwriter and entertainer Robbie Williams.
Today we're talking about Progressed, the EP Take That, including Robbie, released before they embarked on their Progress tour, as well as Rocket Ship and a few collaborations Robbie did around this time. And today, we have our very special guest, Dan Budd.
Hello, Dan.
How are you doing? You all right?
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
Very pleased to have you on the show.
It's an honour to finally be here. So I've been seemingly avoiding you, but I haven't been avoiding you. But we're here now, so...
So Dan is a Robbie tribute artist, and we'd love to hear a bit more about that. I'd like to know, were you a fan first, or did you just how did you fall into it?
You know...
What's your story, Dan?
What's my story? I think being born, raised, and still a resident of Stoke, it's quite hard not to have heard of Robbie. And with him being a couple of years up the road from me, it was hard not to follow his life as a youngster. So I was never one for education. I pratted around in school. I was the class clown, but really resonated with drama and music, and found my calling on stage, and kind of followed that. But it was weird because I've never thought about being a Robbie Williams tribute act. Never, if you look at photos of me growing up, never looked like Robbie. Didn't necessarily know if I sounded like Robbie. I just sang as myself. And it was only when I came back from working on cruise ships in 2012, 2013, I was like, right, what am I going to do now? I didn't really want to go back to the cruise ship life. So I started borrowing people's speakers and hosting karaoke events at pubs local to me. I did one at the Birch's Head Hotel in Stoke, and I sound checked using Dear Darling by Ollie Murs. And this guy came up to me afterwards and said, really uncanny how much you sounded like Rob when you sang that. And I was like, oh, he must be a local singer here. So I went, oh, cool, cheers, mate. Yeah, Rob who? He went, Robbie Williams. I went, oh, thanks, mate, cheers. Went over to my dad. My dad goes, what's Pete want? Who's Pete? You know what's going, don't you?
Yeah.
I said, who's Pete? He goes, that guy you were just talking to. I said, he said that I sounded like Robbie Williams when I was singing that Ollie Murs song. And he went, fucking hell, he should know. I was like, why is that? And he goes, well, that's his dad. And I went over to him all shaky and starstruck. And I was like, hello, Mr. Williams. He goes, call me Pete, youth. And I was like, that was it then. I thought there might be something in this. I've always listened to Robbie Williams, his stuff, wasn't really a Take That kind of follower, because I think in my age group it wasn't cool to listen to boy band stuff, so I listened to a lot of rock and metal and 80s rock, but stuff like Oh Before I Die was about, and It's Only Us was creeping in and stuff like that, and that was rocky, and that got me listening to Robbie and everything else that he released. And I was kind of like, this is really cool music. And the funny thing is that every Robbie song tells a story, and I can kind of relate to each one of them, which is really rare to find in an artist, I think.
Yeah.
That with the insight that Pete gave me after, being blessed with his friendship, he basically told me to get into a studio and record some songs. And this is when Go Gentle had just been released. And I got into the studio. I recorded that, No Regrets, Come Undone, and Tripping. And put it on a CD, wrote my number on it, and I give it to Pete at the Birch's Head Hotel. And I said, will you let me know what you think? And after I was like, oh, you must get that all the time. And he goes, yeah, no worries, I'll do that. And put it in his coat pocket, and that was the end of it. A day went by, a week went by, 2 weeks went by. At my phone, like. And then I got a text. Hey up, youth, it's Pete. Just listen to your CD, spot on. Closest thing to Rob I've ever heard. Well done.
Oh,
And I was
lovely.
like, let's do it. Right. All systems go. And it's gone from there, really. It's gone from strength to strength, you know. Went back to the Birch's Head Hotel where I started doing karaoke, showed him the EP, played it alongside Robbie's version of Go Gentle. And he was blown away, and he was like, will you gig here? I was like, yeah, I'll gig anywhere.
Yeah.
just let me work. And that was it. Yeah, it was a long time coming, I think, because I think I acted a clown a lot, but didn't really apply it to anything constructive. And the best bit of advice I ever got was from my brother after he came to my first gig. And he said, right, when you're on stage, you're Dan. But when you're at home, you're Robbie Williams. He says, you need to switch that around. He said, so that cheeky bastard that you are at home, you need to be that cheeky bastard on stage.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's right. Good golly, he's right. Yeah, I went for it. And I just thought, you know what? The more people I insult at a gig, the better.
Yeah.
And that was it. Almost 10 years later, and I'm still doing it. Still loving it. Yeah.
Excellent.
That's great. What an endorsement to be discovered by Pete Conway himself.
If only
Papa
I knew
Pete, we know he listens, so hello to Papa Pete. I'm sure he does.
Hi, Papa Pete. I hope you're okay. If you haven't listened to this one, but you've listened to any of the others, I'm not going to be happy. No, I saw him the other week. We went for Eggs Benedict at the Frankie and Benny's near us. It's his favourite one. You know, of all the Eggs Benedicts he's had in the world, Frankie and Benny's is his favourite. So yeah, he's doing well. He's looking great as well, to be fair. Very Tom Jones-esque with his little goatee.
Bless him.
Oh.
So whose idea was it to go on Let It Shine? Because you appeared on that, didn't you?
You know, I thought, and I was told, that they were looking for somebody to play Robbie in a theatre production. So I went for it and I applied. I heard nothing. And then I remember getting a phone call from the production company saying, hi, is this Dan? I was like, yeah. And he goes, we've been trying to email you for weeks. Are you still coming to the audition? I was like, I haven't had any emails. Checked my junk mail. And there were all these emails.
Oh, dear.
And I was like, yeah, when is it? Tomorrow in Birmingham. I was like, yeah, sure, cool. I'll be there. What do we need to bring? Just yourself and an iPad with a couple of songs on. So I did Dear Darling. Because if Pete says that I sounded like Robbie Williams while singing an Ollie Murs song, then he can't be wrong. And Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi. And so I turned up, full on Robbie casual attire, hair up, Everything very, very Robbie. Louboutins, all that jazz. I went in there. I got in the line. I said, hi. I saw somebody with a clipboard. I went, hi, I'm Dan Budd. I'm here for the role of Robbie. Is this the right place? He went, yeah, just that line there, mate. I went, thanks, mate, thanks. Got in the line, and there was this guy in front of me. He didn't really resemble anyone from Take That. So I've tapped on his shoulder, went, you all right, mate? Are you here for the auditions? Yeah. He was like, yeah. I goes, well, like the crew or the... He's like, no, the show. I was like, oh. Who were you meant to be then? He went, Steve. I went, oh, okay. Then we got called into this room. There was the lead choreographer and Evie, who was a wonderful, wonderful lady, who is Robbie's vocal coach when he does appearances on The X Factor, Britain's Got Talent, and all that kind of stuff. And she told me some cool stories, which I'll get to in a bit. And we all had to sit in a big circle around them, a semicircle kind of thing, and they were at the head of it. And they said, right, okay, cool. Who'd like to go first? And this guy, bear in mind, I was going to go in there and sing Could It Be Magic a cappella, just the chorus. And this guy says, I'll go first, next to me. And I was like, all right, calm down. Says, yeah. He pulls out this little, his phone, and he had a little piano on it. And he, ding, 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 me. And I went, fuck. What am I going to do? I've could it be magic now? I was like, yeah, I'm not going to get very far with that. So I'll let everybody else go first. Whilst I was trying to think of what to do. And there was a lad in there, Danny Gardner. Shout out to Danny Gardner. He worked still. I don't know if he still works there. He worked in a casino that I performed at in Stoke, and he just said, "Dude, do no regrets." I was like, "Yeah, I can do that." I was on the spot, stood up, started singing it. Had to look at him for the words because I was that nervous. But it's something that comes so naturally when you're on stage and you got the track and everything, or the band, you know exactly what you're doing. When you're singing it a cappella and everybody's looking at you, you're kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
So I was like, everybody else looks at him and I was like, he's like, you look good for each other. We look good for each other. And they went outside. The judges went outside after, came back, and they said, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for coming. Can we just ask Dan Budd to leave the room? I was like,
no. Well, the only one.
Oh, shit. So I thought, oh, they've all smashed it, haven't they? There's me. I didn't even know the words. And yeah, they pulled me outside and said, congratulations. You've gone on to the next stage. We're going to do a little interview. And then we're going to do some choreography. I don't like choreography much. But so I went outside. I thought, oh, great, this is brilliant, fantastic. Went to the next part, which was the interview, and it was with the guy with a clipboard that I'd met about 2 hours ago, asking if this was the cue for the Robbies. And he thought that was hilarious. And he was one of the producers of the show. And so I did the interview. That was brilliant. Went through to the choreography. Didn't like that. God knows how I got through that. And then I got the email saying, congratulations, you're going to be on the show. Here's a list of something stupid like 500 songs. pick three. One's got to be pop, one's got to be rock, one's got to be musical, but it's all got to be from 5 songs from 5 categories, and they've all got to be a different genre, but the categories were like 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s upwards. But you've got to have like an opera song. So if you pick an opera song from the 50s, you can't have an opera song from current day. So I think the only Robbie-esque song that I picked was "It Was a Very Good Year." It's my swing song. And everything else was Bon Jovi, Ollie Murs. I can't remember the other two. I didn't know him, so I was hoping they wouldn't have picked them ones. And then I got a phone call from the producer saying, "Do you know what would be really cool? If you sang No Regrets."
Oh.
I was like, in front of Gary Barlow?
Brilliant.
Are you fucking insane?
Did the producer know the connection or not?
Well, he did after the phone call.
Right.
I kind of said, you do realise that that's what Robbie wrote about leaving Take That, leaving Gary Barlow, and saying that he's got no regrets at all about leaving Take That. He's like, oh, no, he didn't. But it'd still be great telly, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure he thought it'd be great when you told him that.
Yeah. He just went, cha-ching, brilliant, yeah, we'll do it. And I said, I don't know if I feel comfortable doing that. And I was told that if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be going any further.
Okay.
And then the 3 pictures of the costumes that I wanted to wear, because they ask you to send them 3 and they'll pick one. We're all very casual, smart clothes, much like everybody else wore. And they said, wouldn't it be cool? What's Robbie wearing on tour right now? And it's when he did the European Let Me Entertain You show tour. So I said, either bondage trousers or a kilt.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Would you wear them? No.
Oh,
No.
God.
And they said, why not? I said, well, Bob's a builder, but you didn't ask him to bring his hard out, did you?
Yeah.
I said, I'm not doing that. I'm putting my foot down. I'll do your song, but I'm not wearing a kilt. I'm not Scottish. And so they said, okay. And then they went through my Facebook and my social media and found a picture of me wearing the blue blazer and the Louboutins and said, that's what you're wearing. I was like, okay, great. It's kind of casual, I suppose. Then when I watched everybody else in the room and they were all smart casual, I was like, God, I feel like a bit of a prick.
Yeah.
So I didn't choose this. Yeah, I didn't choose this. They chose this. I wanted to wear nothing. I mean something, but not this. But yeah, and the rest was televised.
Yeah.
The bits that were televised, that weren't in the YouTube video that's still available now, shameless plug, is the bit where Gary does he got his scoring wrong, and I thought that was a really cute moment. And then I went off stage and almost ran back on stage because Howard and Mark were standing right at the bottom of the steps on the stage. And I was the last person to audition on the day, so it's about 11 o'clock. We were up at 6 in the morning, and then 11 p.m. finish.
Wow.
It was a long, long, long day. They did 2 episodes in one day. So it was a lot of, getting the audience in, getting the audience out, changing the audience around so family members were seated in the right places.
Yeah.
Very, very cool to see happen. But the buffer guy, the hype man, he went on, right, we've got a very special guest now. Very special guest, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to get you to make some massive noise for this very special guest, ladies and gentlemen. And then I walk on stage, the audience go, way! Oh, it's not him. But I come off stage, Mark and Howard's there, and they give me a hug. And I'm like, this is insane. And they said, Howard goes, you're not going to sing The Flood next week, are you? I was like, no, mate. I think I'll leave Robbie alone now. So they want me to be me, so I'll be me. But I kind of knew that from the start. But
Yeah.
walking down the corridor, I was going one way, and the lads were going towards the car park to leave. And I was having a conversation with Mark, and he says, "Oh, earlier on in the green room, you asked me something, but I couldn't answer it because we didn't have time. What did you want to ask me?" And I said, "Oh, it's pretty much along the lines of, they are the only boy band from the '90s that have had a continuous career and continuous success and continuous arena sellout shows. So how do you feel about being like the world's biggest man band?" And he said, "We don't take anything for granted. We absolutely love what we do, and we probably won't stop doing what we do in some capacity." And his security, his minder was like, "Mark, we've got to go." And he goes, "Hang on, I'm talking to Dan." I was like, "Oh snap!" So we had a cheeky selfie, and off he went, kind of thing. And it was really cool. Months later, could have been years later, to be fair, maybe a year later, Robbie brings out a biography called Reveal, and I get a mention in there by Mark Owen, and I'm like, this is crazy. Everybody must have bought it at the same time, the Robbie fans, and got to that point at the same time.
Yeah, probably.
I remember I was on holiday in Wales, not much signal, and I just got hundreds of messages. "Oh my God, you mentioned in Robbie's book. Like, send me a picture. Send me a picture. I haven't got this book yet. Send me a picture." And it was a surreal experience. And from there, I got went on to a show called Even Better Than the Real Thing. I didn't get aired on the show, but I met a lot of cool tribute acts who were on the show. Belinda Davids, Rob Lamberti, Paul Baker. I should really say who these people are. So Whitney Houston, George Michael, Dolly Parton, Michael Jackson, young Michael Jackson. So many awesome tribute acts that I've stayed in touch with over the years. But yeah, I never got shown because nobody was injured. And if there was a season 2, I would have been in with a shot. But
that's a shame.
The show got panned because of the name, because everyone's like, nobody's better than the real thing.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it's true. It's true.
Goodness
but
me.
I got to work with Steve Sidwell, which was awesome.
Oh, lovely.
He was the band
arranger,
orchestrator, arranger, yeah.
Orchestrator, yeah. He was that guy with the sticks. Conductor.
He does all of that.
He does all of it. Yeah, he arranges, he conducts. He was really cool. Really cool to work with. Really down to earth, not big-headed at all. It was weird because he never actually got to hear me sing a Robbie song because I was a depth musician for 5 tribute acts in case they fell down some stairs.
Okay.
I did try to push a few. So I had to sing It's Not Right, But It's Okay by Whitney Houston, Faith by George Michael, Black Magic by Little Mix, If I Was Your Man, Bruno Mars, and there was an Adele song in there as well. So I had to sing them, but in the style of Robbie Williams.
Oh, that's weird.
Can you imagine Robbie trying to sing like Whitney Houston?
Yeah, that's really strange. I would have loved to have seen that.
I didn't. It wasn't the best first impression, I don't think, for Steve. No. I was like, I saw your credit card receipt. Oh, was that Steve? Shit. No, no, he was quite complimentary, to be fair. He didn't give me any pointers on how to sound more like Rob, but he said it was spot on, so I can't really grumble. I just wish I got to work with him more as the thing went on. But I said it was a 2-episode wonder, really. They did a pilot and a Christmas special, and that was it, really. Bit of a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
So for any listener that doesn't know what Let It Shine is, I mean, it's like it was a massive primetime
BBC One.
BBC show,
Saturday
produced
night.
by Gary, I think. Certainly, he was on it and hosting it, wasn't he? But
Judge.
I think it was
Judge.
his idea.
It was
was
Take
his
That,
idea.
and including Robbie, were produced. Well, he wasn't really producer of the TV show, but
I'm
they were
sure
all
everybody
involved.
that listens to this will know about it, but just in case anybody doesn't, it was massive.
I did go and see the recording of one of the episodes, but you weren't on
Did
that
you?
one. Yeah, I did.
Oh, do you remember any of the names from the...
I think it wasn't the auditions, it was a later round. So, yeah, then when they were
okay.
auditioning the
So
bands.
when the band, that I got taken out at that point, and it was quite poetic, really, because obviously there's 7 of us, and they had to reduce it to 5, as in 5 members of Take That.
Yeah.
Ain't that? So me and another lad, I knew my face didn't fit the criteria. It would have probably have fit better if they were looking for a Robbie to play Robbie, a Gary to play Gary, Jason, but they were looking for 5 lads to sing and dance. And having seen the band, the musical, I was like, yeah, get it now. I get it. Have you seen the show?
Yeah.
So they were glorified backing dancers.
Well,
Backing singers, in my opinion, because the show was actually about 5 women.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the love of the music of the band, aka Take That.
That's true. They were often in the background of the stage rather than the foreground, weren't they? Dancing away.
And moving sets around.
Yes.
Yeah,
I remember, wasn't there
like,
part of the show where they jumped off like a 12-foot, that they were at the top of something and they jumped down? At least you can't remember
I don't remember.
Sure, there was a huge jump.
Oh no,
in the
there
show.
wasn't. Yeah, one of them did do quite a big jump, but it
leapt from
wasn't.
the top
It
of a
wasn't 12 foot.
It was at least.
Yeah, it was from the
16
balcony. It's because I pushed him.
I know you could have pulled that off, Dan, of course, but you know.
Yeah. You know what? I would have done it into the splits though after doing 3 somersaults and a handstand. So. Yeah.
So have you got a favourite song by Robbie that maybe that you like performing, or just that you like best?
Favourite song? I think the one that gets the cameras out is No Regrets, because I did it on the telly. Is it my favourite? Probably not. A favourite one to perform? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love doing them all. People are like, oh, you must be sick of doing Angels by now, because it's like the one constant.
Yeah.
But, what's my favourite song? I do love Something Beautiful. It's a great one.
Right.
Come Undone.
Yeah, good choice.
Come Undone's a good one. Come Undone. And if the audience is on side and they're there for a Robbie gig, the bounce back, they're so unimpressed, but so but yeah, it's good. It's a good vibe.
Great. And have you met Rob? I'm not sure if you have.
It's a strange one. I've emailed him. He's emailed me back. I've spoke to him on the phone, courtesy of Papa Pete. And at his gigs, he's acknowledged that I'm there. And like at the Troxy, he walked in and he kind of just had his hand out and he was like letting people like tap his hand. And then he clocked me. He grabbed my hand and pulled me in for a hug. And he said, "You're right, mate." And I was like, "My God, that's weird. That's weird." And all these women just stood there going,
yeah.
Like, who the f*** are you? I wanted him to touch me. So I do have a kind of a relationship, but haven't met him exclusively.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've met him at gigs, but not like had a proper chat with him, if you know what I mean. Not like in a studio setting. But yeah, we've spoken, we speak, which is cool. Yeah. But,
and there's that nice image of him posing in front of one of your posters.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I
Was it a
remember I
bus
was.
stop?
Is it a bus stop in Stoke?
Was it a bus stop?
It's a notice board.
Oh, yeah, right.
In the grounds of Burslem Park.
Right.
And I was doing a gig at the Floral Hall in Burslem. There's one of my gig posters, and I was doing a classic kind of leaning forward, finger on the lips, Robbie pose. And he was actually there to get the key to the city. And he saw my poster, and he said, "Pops, take a picture of this." And he got Pete to take a picture of him mimicking me in front of my poster. And then he put it on Twitter presenting Robbie Williams as Dan Budd.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I was blown away. Again, I was on holiday. It's like I have so many holidays. It's probably the only 2 holidays I've ever had. But we were on a beach in Turkey or Tunisia. Oh God, I travel so much. I lose track, darlings.
Turkey,
And,
Tunisia, Tunstall, all the same.
yeah, it's all T's and U's, isn't it? They don't do oatcakes in Tunisia, though.
No.
And I had 193 notifications when I finally got Wi-Fi.
Wow.
So my first port of call was, shit, he's dead.
Yeah.
And it was all basically my dad. He was like, get on the internet, get on Facebook, get on get on there now. And I looked at it, I was like, oh my God, that's insane. The little fangirl inside of me was like dying to get back home and promote the hell out of it.
Yeah.
But then that got on to Good Morning Britain.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, will Robbie turn up to his gig? Well, we know he's in the area. The gig sold out like that. And everybody, like, halfway through, you could see people like looking at the main doors, throughout the show. Every time I finish a song, they're kind of going, no, he's not here. No. We'll endure it a bit more. He might turn up at the end. He might be here already. We don't know. He didn't turn up. No camera crews or press were there either, so he must have made it very clear that he wasn't turning up whilst he was halfway back to Los Angeles. But yeah, that was it was great. I forget about that. It was
We'll have to dig
that
that photo up and add it to the
share
to the webpage for the episode. We'll stick it on the socials.
I can send that to you.
You got it handy.
Yeah, it's like I screenshot it every now and then just so it goes to the top of my pile.
Or is it like a 50-foot poster on the back of Toys R Us? Is it that sort of size? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it is a 20-foot one in my bedroom.
Oh, that's great. That's nice that Robbie's got that little connection, and yeah, the cheeky chap and the cheeky chap together. It's good.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice, having the connection through his dad, because, like, even though, like I said, I've got his email address, I don't want to. It's like, because I'd get addicted to it. I'd be like, I'm bored. I might just email Robbie. Hi mate, how you doing? All right. I know you won't reply again. It's only the 83rd time I've emailed you today. But yeah, I felt cute, so I thought I'd text you. Get back to me like soon. Hugs and kisses. No, I wouldn't do that to anybody. I don't really reply to messages.
Yeah, we've noticed.
Yeah, we can empathise.
Yeah. There we go. You are in the same bracket as Robbie, right? You're in a hall of greatness that get ignored or ignore me.
Oh, you must have a good manager. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
That's you, right? Okay.
That would also be me.
Business first. That's the thing.
Yeah, or sleep. Sleep's a good one.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
Right, so shall we move on to the album?
Yeah, Progressed.
Dun, 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 dun.
Let's do it.
Progress was released on the 13th of June 2011, a couple of weeks after Take That started their Progress tour. It was a repackaged version of Progress, which included a second CD with 8 new tracks on it. The album artwork was a red cover with the boys in the same positions but in yellow. The album went straight to number 1 in the UK and Denmark and reached number 2 in Ireland and 11 in Germany. Technically, it meant that Progress spent 6 weeks at number 1 at the time of release, followed by a 7th week in 2011. This was Take That's first EP.
And once again, it was produced by Stuart Price. Q Magazine said it was a bold step to add the biggest selling album of the year, but one that ultimately pays off. Heat Magazine stated, all in all, we have to say this album is utterly weird and wonderful and the perfect extension to Take That's defiant Progress album of 2010. Progressed is a winner in our book. Digital Spy said, the self-penned collection proves once again why Take That's comeback was better than everyone else's, by outgrowing the stereotypical boy band branding to become a group of credible and genuinely artistic group of musicians.
This EP featured more of Gary on lead vocals. Gary said on his own website that it had mainly been written by him and Mark, but finished at Rob's house in LA. On the 3rd of October 2011, Gary revealed that Robbie was leaving the band again. It was beautiful, we got on well, we finished the tour, we're all happy, the fans have come along and been happy, now Rob's doing a solo record, and from this point it's back to where it was. He's our brother, Rob is, and if he's ever in trouble or he wants to have a year off being Robbie Williams, he's welcome any time he wants. He said Take That's revival as a 5-man band ended perfectly, adding, you know what, we can revisit it whenever we want.
However, despite Gary's comments, a spokesperson for the band insisted the group was simply on a break and said, I can confirm that the band are not splitting up and there is no pending announcement of a split. Gary is doing X Factor and Robbie is working on his new solo album. It wasn't until 28th of April 2014 that Robbie announced on Twitter he was to become a father for the second time and suggested he would therefore be unable to join Take That on their forthcoming next album and tour. In actual fact, it later transpired that it was Jason who said he didn't want to return to Take That after Progress, and Robbie felt it wouldn't be the same without it being the 5 of them. On the 28th of September 2014, it was officially announced that Jason was leaving Take That. Aww.
So there we go. That's Progressed in a nutshell. It does feel a bit more like a Take That album than Robbie, really, but his name is on the songwriting credits. You think?
I don't know about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think of like Progress as an album, Progressed is kind of just an extension of Progress. I mean, the way I remember Progressed was Progress with a couple of additional songs.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's right, but
yeah,
it was kind of like it is. It's kind of like with a bonus disc.
Yeah.
So when you've got Kids, and you've got Underground Machine, and you've got all these songs that are very Robbie.
Yeah.
And there's some on this album, one in particular, which I completely glanced over because when I perform a song called When We Were Young, it's a medley they did on the Progress tour on the piano, and it consists of A Million Love Songs, Babe, and Everything Changes. And that is called When We Were Young, piano medley.
Right. Yeah.
So when I see that on the album, I've always skipped it and never listened to it.
Well, because you thought it was that medley.
Yeah, I thought it was something else. I was like, a bit weird releasing that on this album. So I never listened to it. It was only, I don't know if we're going straight into that song or what.
It will be in a sec, yeah.
Yeah, we will be.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we can talk about that very shortly.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was very, very Gary Barlow, and you can tell that a lot of it was, you can tell it was written by Gary and Mark, because you've
Yeah.
got the eccentric weirdness of Mark with the very by the book Gary, and when you've got those collision of worlds, it makes for a very interesting collection of songs.
It's very true. Very true. I think Lucy just wanted to flag it because obviously Robbie, all of them are on the songwriting credits.
Yeah.
One or two of the tracks I think you'll point out, and it's hard to actually hear whether Robbie's actually on the BVs, on the backing vocals or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, she's nitpicking a little bit. Yeah.
Just
because you want to hear him, you know. I mean, probably he was involved in the production of them all in some way.
I'm sure, yeah.
But not quite as much as Progress, maybe.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, we are a Robbie podcast, and I'm including this because he is on the songwriting credits.
Was part of it.
And he was part of it.
Slightly bitter that you can't hear him. That's fine. He has no, it's absolutely right. You're bigging up Robbie whilst wearing a Take That t-shirt. That's fine.
That's because we want to take that episode.
No, it's Robbie's got a very distinct voice, and if you can't hear that cutting through, then you just assume that he's not on it.
Yes.
Entirely. Because if you can't hear it, it's not there. You can't see it, it's not real, right? So I get that. And listening to these songs, a lot of them are like, this just sounds like Mark and Gary.
Yeah.
And then you go, there's Howard. There's Howard. Is that Jason? Is that Jason? I don't know. What's Jason sound like these days? I don't know.
I think it's grown on me a little bit doing the research for it. Obviously, we listened to it over and over and over and over again. I guess it's kind of unfair to say this, but out of Progress and Progressed, Progress wins hands down every time. I mean,
100%.
It's probably unfair to compare them because
this is only a bonus.
This is almost like a continuation and a bonus. It's not that I dislike it, but I think I don't think they were trying to, but I just think, you probably can't compare them. It's probably not fair, actually. But it has grown on me. And I think, actually, Dan, you coined it really well. The Gary and Mark together, they do, those two opposing forces really, really create something quite just, amazing. Because it's otherworldly. When you listen, it's about this world, but there's this otherworldly sort of feeling in it as well.
It's quite alien, isn't it?
It's a little bit.
I've dropped 3 song titles in now. I've dropped 3 song titles in now.
I know.
No, it was almost like a cheeky way of saying we're not going to release another album because it's not strong enough to stand on its own. These additional songs aren't strong enough to sell an album.
Yeah.
Even though we Take That World will lap it up.
Yeah.
If you call it something else, what would they call it if they're not going to tour with it? So it's like, I tell you what we'll do. We'll almost give the tracks away and call it a progressed.
Clever.
It was a great marketing ploy, and it also sold more copies of Progress because of the additional songs. So it was a great way of boosting sales on that as well. And they'd already toured it, so winner.
Yeah.
That's me.
They'd only made £8 million on the tour each, so they needed a bit of a top up. So
they needed a little bit. Needed a few royalties.
So should we move on and start talking about the
first song?
First song, yeah.
Yeah. When we were
excited.
Young.
When we were young.
Not the medley that Dan was thinking it was.
Not that medley. But I first heard this, it must have been less than a month ago, before you asked me to do the podcast.
Yeah.
So it was over a month ago. It's just I've ignored you for that. No, I'm joking. I was flicking through Instagram, and it was either Rob or Ida put a picture up of Charlie and Coco.
Would have been Ida.
Yeah.
Seeing as he doesn't do social media.
No. Yeah, he's not got a phone either yet, and every picture or video he's on a phone.
Yeah. He kept
riddle
that
me
myth
that.
going for a long time, didn't he?
Yeah. I spoke to him on a phone. But yeah, and the opening lines of it were in the background, and I was like, oh my God, what is this song? I need to get this song. I need to do this song 'cause it's so relatable of either a dad looking on the birth of his kid or you as a kid yourself, because it was like he's almost telling his kid, that this is what growing up and being a kid's like, and enjoy it, because when you're my age, you get to watch it, but you don't get to do it anymore. So it was a really cute song, and I was like, I need that song in my life because it was powerful. And then Gary comes in, I'm like, oh, it's not a Robbie song. Oh, it's a Taylor song. No, that's interesting.
So let me tell you a bit about it. It was released as the second single from Progressed on the 22nd of August 2011. It was a digital download in the UK only, where it reached number 88. It was available as a single track to download off the album without any promo or a physical release.
And it was written by Take That, especially for the Three Musketeers film. Following a private screening, Gary said, "The film is visually so rich and beautiful that our main challenge was then to match it musically. We've returned to guitars, real pianos, and a conventional song structure to achieve this. We also thought that Musketeers remind us of ourselves." The Three Musketeers premiered in the UK on the 14th of October 2011.
The song was written in LA at Rob's house, where they spent a week trying to quickly finish Progressed before starting tour rehearsals. When they were offered the chance to do the soundtrack for the Three Musketeers, they didn't know whether to accept, since they had already done another for X-Men, but in the end, the film gave them the right inspiration to write the song.
Gary explained on his website that this song felt like a sign of what Take That's next album should be like. Real instruments with less rhythm and emotionally charged lyrics.
So there we go. What do we think of the song? Matt, do you want to go first?
Yeah, okay. So first question, is it a mandolin opening in the introduction? The ding, 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 ding.
I don't know.
Ding. Is it a mandolin, Dan?
I thought it
sounds a bit different.
I thought mandolin, and it's quite fitting with the Three Musketeers setting and the richness. So I was trying to pick out what instruments it could be. I was like, it's too delicate for a guitar. It's not floral enough to be a harp. So mandolin was like, it's that rich kind of timely noise sound. So I'd go mandolin.
Yeah. I hadn't even noticed it.
I think it's just really distinctive because it's so unlike the opening of any other song, and it's not like you say, it's not a guitar, so it's like I think when you listen to it over and over again, you just sort of start picking up on it. But
I thought it's a very oriental kind of sound. And I think that kind of goes through the whole song. It's kind of like a really rich. I didn't actually know it from the Three Musketeers, and I've watched the film, so I must have been so engulfed by the film that I didn't realise that was a song from it. But I can now see how it would work and fit with the film. It's just quite cool. Gonna have to watch it again.
I also think it's a great story about youth and perspective. It's very Barlow-esque, obviously, the build up, the arrangement. Robbie's vocal is a great choice for the lead here.
Yeah. Well, I just like the fact that he's opening the album again, like he did on Progress.
Yeah. I instantly thought, because one thing I've been told about Rob in a studio is as soon as he walks through the doors, they give him a microphone, and then he just starts emptying his head through his mouth into a microphone, and then himself or Guy or whoever's in there will go, "That's good. We can use that." And you could just tell it was very Robbie. It was very, and then Barlow's parts were very Barlow. you know,
Yes.
but they worked so well together.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I was like, this is just a beautifully written, a beautiful feeling piece of music. It
Yeah.
really, it really,
Yeah.
it really, really got to me, and I was like, I didn't
Yeah.
expect a song to move me as
Yeah.
much as this one did.
I've
Like I
got
said, the perspectives.
Yeah, and I've got a couple of favourite lyrics. I love the line, "And we tried to survive travelling at the speed of love." Love that. And then the other great lyric in this song is, "Whoa." There's a lot of woes in it. There's a lot of woes.
There is.
I think that's the line that got to me. I was like, oh,
It's like, I don't know what
oh,
else to put in. Let's put a whoa in and that'll work. No, it works. Obviously, it does work.
I really like the orchestral arrangement. There's loads of really nice strings throughout the whole song when you listen to
yeah.
them. And what I found fascinating is how long it takes for it to kind of kick in with the drums as well.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to take like about 2 minutes before you get full proper drums playing. And the drums were played by Carl Brazil.
Obviously.
Yeah. And at the end, when it like slows down and then it like rebuilds, it goes up again, fast again. I don't know why, but I could just imagine Mark dancing to that part, doing his
little shaky
dancing.
thing.
Yeah, the dancing that only Mark
Can
does.
do.
Yeah. It's so weird how you can tell the difference between. I mean, I didn't know that Carl played the drums on it, but I knew that Carl played the drums on it just by listening to it. You know, but two very different stylings between Donovan and Carl. Even though it's just drums, it
Right.
just feels and sounds different. That's why I thought originally it was a Robbie song,
Yeah.
because of the way it was written lyrically, the way it was displayed musically. And then Gary jumped in, and I'm like, oh, this is
Careful.
good, isn't it? This is steady now. Don't get too excited, Gary. Woo! But no, yeah, and you can tell it was one of those ones that they went to LA and did at Rob's house,
Yeah.
because it feels like, you know, after, you know, he's got Teddy, his daughter, his pride and joy, the love of his life. He's, you know, he's got that perspective and he's got that maturity now. You know, everything's coming together for him, and he's looking at it like, I don't think if you asked him to do this song before he was a dad, I don't think it would have came out the same.
Yeah.
No.
You know what I mean? He'd be relaying it on the fact that he was young when he was in Take That.
That's
And now
sort of
he's-
what I take from it. I feel like
Yeah.
it's more about when they were young together as a band in Take That.
Yeah.
We didn't know it wouldn't last. A still more glorious dawn awaits my life. I feel like those could be, you know,
Yeah,
they've now moved on together and they're so much happier than
Yeah.
they were when
Yeah.
they were younger.
yeah.
It has lots of meanings, I think.
Yeah, I think it has
Yeah.
multiple meanings, but I looked at the line, never knowing the cost of what we paid, letting someone else be strong. I mean, can apply to any, you know,
Yeah.
youth situation, can't it? When you don't really know what's going on and
Yeah.
what toll
I mean-
it's taking.
Hearing that lyric in relation without the music, you kind of think that would be a Gary kind of meaning of saying that was the cost that we paid, so Rob could go off and be a strong performer in
Yeah.
his own right, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very, very clever song,
It
a very
really is.
underrated clever song.
Yeah. Yeah. So should we talk about the video?
Yes. The video was directed by Paul Gore and filmed at Wembley Stadium after two of their progress concerts, with the rubbish and the ticker tape still floating around the stadium. Paul Gore has made videos for Amy Winehouse, Katy Perry, Paloma Faith, John Legend, Snow Patrol, New Order and more. Rob said in a blog that it had been majestic but very comfortable shooting the video in the empty stadium after 80,000 people had just been in there.
Yeah. It sort of looks a bit eerie when you watch it. There's just
Yeah.
sort of,
Does?
they're kind of just, yeah, it's arty. I think that's
Yeah,
the word for
it's like the calm after the storm,
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
and then that music cutting through it is very. It's almost like you could watch it on mute and think it's a completely different song.
Yeah.
You wouldn't put them two together, but it works so well.
Yeah. I love all the rubbish lying on the floor as well.
Yeah. I'm screwed
Is
up
it real
tape
rubbish
back.
or prop rubbish? I think it's real, isn't it?
I
It'd be
think it's
real.
real. Yeah, they wouldn't.
Can you imagine?
Just sprinkle out.
There's not enough shit there. Can you just get that bin and just tip it everywhere? And can we fire some more confetti, please? Not enough ticker tape. Ticker tape. I was going to say titty tape then. There's probably some of that too.
Probably.
One thing I did notice about it, I love noticing things that Lucy doesn't know, and I haven't checked, so let's see, Dan, whether I've one here, not one, but observe something you don't know.
Okay.
The first few opening instrumental bars of the video version are different to the audio track version.
No, I haven't noticed that.
There you go.
Have you noticed that, Dan?
See, I pick up on these little things. It's slightly simplified. Like there's I don't know, I'm not a musician, but there's probably 10 to 15 seconds trimmed out.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you wouldn't know because it sounds great, but you hear the mandolin, but then there's just not so much build up before it gets Robbie's opening line much faster. Okay. Because I was sat here clicking the video on, I was like, oh, Robbie's already singing. Where's the intro gone?
It's probably because it was a lot of ambient noise for what you're watching, because it was a very ambient setting.
Yeah.
So just so people don't click on it and go,
oh, what's this?
20 seconds of shit and mandolin.
Yeah. An empty stadium full of rubbish.
Yeah. Just get to the song. So yeah.
I quite like the moody black and white. I like that sort of. I think when I first ever saw it, I thought, they've just done a cheap video because they had a stadium and they had some cameras there and they thought they'd do it. But actually, when you look back on it, it's actually quite good. They're doing their best serious smouldering looks throughout.
Yeah,
I'm sure you enjoyed that.
I did.
And I thought it was actually a really good idea to do it because, as fans, we all spend a lot of time in stadiums, in arenas, in that kind of environment, walking through broken plastic cups and shit and other stuff.
Not when you walk in, hopefully.
No,
hopefully
when you walk out.
Yeah. So I thought it was actually quite a good idea, and I think the video for me brought the song to life even more.
Yeah,
and videos don't always do that. Sometimes they just complement it, but I thought this brought it to life because of the emotion that they were conveying in their performances. And,
okay.
Yeah.
They
My favourite bit was just Rob and Mark hugging.
Yeah.
Aww.
I think they could have very easily done what they did, take that as a 3-piece did later on the 3 album for Get Ready For It, and just put Kingsman footage. They could have just put Three Musketeer footage to the music video and just go, there we go, done. But it's the time, the effort, because they're going to be absolutely knackered after a show. But then to go and do that in however many takes it took to go and do that in the stadium after they've just performed, after all their emotions have just come out and they're drained. Yeah, it's something to behold, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
Good. So should we move on to talk about Man?
Yeah, Man.
Oh, let me scroll. Hang on, where's Man? There we go. Possible favourite.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. That's my tagline.
There was a fragment of this song in the music that preceded the entry of the 5 of them during the tour before the flood. Gary wrote the verses and the chorus, then Mark did the spoken part, apparently. Gary said that the drama in it was fantastic. Weirdly, there's a song called Take That Man by a band called The 4 of Spades. And so when I Googled this song, that was all I could find. Annoyingly. So that's all I've got on this song.
Oh,
and
okay.
So do you want to go first with talking about this song?
Okay, yeah, I can, yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, this song's a bit more like the original Progress songs, with the, sort of robotic kind of sound. And is it Mark that was doing the robotic words at the beginning, do you think? I was trying to listen and it sounded a
I
bit
wondered
like
that.
him.
I tried to listen. I mean, it sounds more like something Howard would do.
Yeah.
You know, because if you watch Howard's live videos and his DJ kind of prowess, you'd think that he'd be more, you know, because you wouldn't picture Mark going, man,
That's
complicated,
true.
fractious. You know, it's more like the voice from
Twisted,
the Cube.
ego,
Ego.
solicitous.
But
That's hard to say.
in a studio, it was probably like, man, complicated, fractious, ego, you know, but then put that into a studio, into a mixer.
Can you sing one a bit? Can you sing one? What's the sound like?
What are you looking at?
Oh yeah, can you sing what you're looking at in a Mark voice?
What are you looking at? No, I can't. Kings and queens and presidents, ministers of government. For me, it's.
I think you're better at Robbie.
Thanks. Cheers.
Lucy
I wasn't
said,
warm.
stick to the day job.
I wasn't warm. No, I always thought my interpretation of Mark is purely tongue in cheek.
Yeah,
nobody was hurt in the recording of my vocal. But I always aim for Ollie Murs meets Joe Pasquale when I do I do Mark.
Sorry, you're getting offended yet?
I do love Mark.
Yeah, she loves Mark. You've got to go careful, Dan.
Sorry, booty believers.
I love Mark in this song.
He's brilliant.
Yeah,
he is brilliant.
He is. Yeah. I like I've never given this much to another. No, not to another lover. I like it when he does that bit.
Yeah.
You can't hear Rob at all. I think
there's a lot going on. To pinpoint vocals in this one.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, but I think it's quite Howard-esque. This song. It makes me think he had something to do with it, but apparently he didn't. But it feels like he should have done, because it just feels like his kind of music.
Absolutely. I didn't actually realise this was a song, because obviously I've been doing the theatre tour with Rule the World, and it's always the intro to The Flood, and we got on the screens at the back saying, you know, 5 became 4, 4 became 3, then here we go, you know, progress, and in the background is the opening for Man, but without the give it up, da, 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 da. But when we're sound checking to it, you hear Dan Maines and Matt Hall going, give it up, and I'm going, what the f*** are you singing? So I'm like, okay, cool. And then when I was listening to this, walking through the park a couple of weeks ago, I was like, that's what it is. That's what they're doing. And to put it all together, I'm like, yeah, it's very, very in-fitting with the Progress album, like you said. It's very, very Progress. Like I've put a possible favourite. I love the build-up for the intro, and it flows so well into the song. And when you say you can't hear Rob on it, I agree. But we use it as an intro into The Flood, which is very Rob. Yeah. So it's quite nice to have that contrast and that flow. But yeah, I think the lyrics and the vocal setup is very 80s. You know, it feels very 80s. And the chorus, I feel, could be more punchy and in your face. You know,
I think it's. I like singing along to the chorus. I like it as it is.
I think the words are great, but like the drums and everything in the background could be a bit more like whoa.
Even more. Wow.
If you know what whoa is, you know, it's not Boris Johnson stumbling on his words. Whoa. But it's almost like the alien is responding to the man. I took that as, because I was on my shuffle playlist, I listened to another song that we're going to be talking about, and then Man came on, and then you hear the opening bit, the ego, fractious, and you kind of like, is that the alien talking back to the man? Because the man's just been talking about the alien.
Yeah.
So it kind of worked multi-level and quite flowy musically into other songs on the album, which I thought was quite cool. It's like a continuation, but an intro at the same time. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Matt?
Well, I picked up on a similar thing as Dan, actually, on the big intro build-up. It's actually just under a minute before the vocals kick in, which I think, just builds the tension up positively for the song. And then that thumping bassline drum beat comes on in the background, and the energy, real energy in the track. Obviously, Dan wants more energy in the chorus.
Always.
I get
always.
that. But
always.
There's something about, I think all the tracks have got that thumping bass line, haven't they?
I think that's Stuart Price's
It's pretty consistent,
influence.
And designed, obviously, for touring, for live. It's great to listen to as well, but there's the energy just keeps pumping. And I was thinking about who was the voice in the background at the start. I thought it was Mark, could be Howard, I don't know. When you listen to the actual lyrics and read the lyrics, it's actually a little bit depressing, some of it, about creating what we can't reverse, nothing will ever be the same again. But it's also quite a happy, uplifting song at the same time. And I love it when a song can do, bring all those different emotions in, when we're waiting for the universe to end.
Yeah.
But
that's nice.
Definitely Mark had a lot to do with that sort of dystopian view of the world, I think.
Yeah.
But, it's a good song.
It is good. Possible favourite.
Oh, possible.
Out of the selection I've been given in this box of celebrations, it's possibly up there with the very disliked coconut chocolate bounty in the celebrations, which is it's one of my favourites, but not many people like it. So
I don't like it. No.
So that's my bounty. That.
Lovely. I just eat everything that Lucy doesn't want, so yeah.
You eat what you're told to eat.
Yeah, anything that's got coconut, nuts in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I should mention, Dan mentioned Rule the World there, so we didn't talk about that earlier on, but you feature in a Take That tribute band as well. Some of our listeners might not know who they are. I mean, everyone that knows you probably knows, but tell us about that.
Yeah. Rule the World are, in my opinion, the pinnacle. When I started, everybody was, you should work with Rule the World. They're incredible. There is so many amazing Take That tribute bands out there. But when I was looking at what they were saying about working with Take That tribute bands, I saw Rule the World, saw what they do, saw what they've done, saw what they've got coming up. And I was like, I really want to work with these guys. And I was just starting out. So I was like, they'd never look at me and go, that's the Robbie that we want for our, award-winning tribute band. Because I was still gigging at the old man and his dog with borrowed speakers. So it was really surreal to get a phone call from Matt Hall, the director of the company, and said, mate, we want you to come and do this 25-year anniversary tour with us. It's going to be over a year, which then spread to 3 years, and we're still doing the tour now with various different promoters. So it's great. I was with them on Friday in Stoke, and they're just an absolute joy to work with. And Dan Maines as Gary Barlow.
He's incredible.
Oh, he's just, the vocal ability of that man is sickening. There's been many, many times where we've been doing Relight My Fire, and there's a dance routine, and I'm not very good at dancing. I give it my best go, and from the audience, I look like I'm doing the same thing as the rest of them who've been doing it for years. But in my eyes, I'm going, "Oh, should I turn the other way?" But he does this primal scream towards the end of Relight My Fire, and I always, without fail, I'm just like this, just staring at him.
Dan's got his mouth open.
Yeah, this is the audio descriptive version. Dan stares longingly at the distance with mouth open in obvious adoration for Dan Maines. And I always mess up the first part of that, the following dance bit, because I'm just looking at him like, how do you do that? It's amazing. And just his demeanour and his persona on stage is so different to the Dan Maines off stage. It's characterising at its finest. And I think it was Denise Van Outen who said that they are mimicry masters of mimicry.
Yeah.
And they're just such an authentic package.
Yeah.
Check them out.
Good. I have. But everyone else should as well.
Big shout out to Rule the World.
There you go. High praise coming from a little lad who sings in the Dog and Duck.
So let's go on to Love Love.
This was the first single off Progressed on the 11th of May 2011, just before the tour. It was number 15 in the UK, number 3 in Hong Kong, 27 in Ireland, and 37 in Italy. Love Love was written for the film X-Men First Class, directed by Matthew Vaughn, who also directed Stardust, for which they recorded Rule the World. Some of the lyrics fit with X-Men themes, like the gates of evolution could be a reference to how the X-Men are mutants and are sometimes said to be the next step in the theory of evolution. Take That performed it for the first time at the National Movie Awards, and if you're searching through the film looking for the song, then let us remind you that it appeared in the end credits. Just in case, I'm sure all the fans will know exactly where it is. But
So Take That knew they had to surprise the film company because there were several musicians vying for the song. They worked on some of Gary's backing tracks and quickly created Love Love. Gary said that the final version was not very different from the demo. Once again, drums by Carl Brazil on this one. Oh. So, Dan, do you want to go first on Love Love?
yeah.
As soon as I saw it on this list, I was like, yes, what might have heard of? Automatically had the tune in my head. Love it. Very much a standout song in this collection of songs that you've got me to listen to and revisit. I can see the video for it in my head, but can we talk about that separately? But musically, I just think it's massive. It really is. And it's very heroic. I've put that in there. It feels heroic and massive. And that's before I realised it was on the X-Men, because I don't think I even got to the credits on this one. Just because I just didn't. Yeah, didn't feel like an X-Men film to me. But it just feels very heroic. No one's gonna save you. It's like, this very, very, very hero-esque kind of song, and I just think it's great. Just from start to finish, an absolute banger. And did you say it was like 38 in Hong Kong? Or something
No, number 3.
It was got to 3 in Hong Kong.
3 in Hong
Hong
Kong.
Kong, where was it, like in the 30s?
It was 37
Italy.
in Italy, yeah.
37 in Italy.
15 in the UK.
What were they thinking in Italy?
Yeah.
Did they not want to be saved? What? It's just like, oh no, we'll have a pizza instead. Come on. It was a banger. Absolute banger.
I really like it. Yeah, it brings back great memories of the tour and them coming along the walkway on Om.
Oh yeah.
Because it's just got such a great, as you say, it's banging, great beat.
It's banging. That sounded like something that would not naturally come out of your mouth, Alice. It's like, yes, it was banging.
I do say that sometimes.
Yeah.
Fun fact. Do you,
You're down with the kids.
Yeah. For those with the audio description, Dan's just done a downward pointing gesture to make him look like Ali G. Fun fact, do you know where Om is now?
Well, we were talking about this in a previous episode.
Yeah, in the last episode. We
has
would
it
really
been,
like to
Has
know.
it been relocated from Wiltshire since Robbie sold the house?
It's still there.
Oh.
It's actually one of the selling points of the house in Wiltshire.
What, he didn't just leave it behind, did he?
He just left it, yeah.
Are you joking?
You couldn't take
So
it to
called
a
it a modern
London.
sculpture and just left it
Yeah.
there.
To be fair, on the grounds, it's probably not even been detected by the new owners yet. The grounds are massive, and he's sat on a hill nestled in trees. So yeah, it's quite. Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't believe
He'll
that.
find it eventually. If he
We
wants
thought we were
do
going to
it.
see it on the back of a flat loader going up the M1 or something. But obviously
Can you
not.
imagine if it's went, do you know where it is now? Let me just take you into my garden. I've got one of his fingers.
We thought he was going to donate it to Manchester or something, but obviously not.
Mark will be upset about that. He wanted Om to be donated to the city of Manchester.
Yeah.
And now he's just been left behind.
He's not there yet.
Some millionaire or billionaire to just look at and not appreciate.
If you're going to buy that house, I think you've got to know who the previous resident was, and that's got to be a selling point in itself. So to have that there as well was kind of like, yeah, very cool. But according to Peaks, I did ask, it's still there.
Still there.
Oh, I feel sad about Om.
Poor Om.
But back to Love. Yeah, I just love it. I like how the chorus is kind of repetitive and it kind of makes it feel anthemic. Definitely stadium-esque. And you can really feel Stuart Price's influence on it as well.
Yeah.
And you can definitely hear Howard on the backing vocals on this one.
Yeah, you can't miss that lisp.
Yeah. And also I love how it just ends really abruptly, the song as well. It's just great from beginning to end.
Boom.
Boom.
Yeah.
Gone.
Excellent. I love it.
I agree. I think I said it's another powerful, thumping and futuristic opening and song. And I was reflecting on the lyrics and I was trying to make some sense of the story here. And I was really struck by the line, "Why don't you teach your heart to fill and give you love, love, give you love, love, give it all away? Why don't you teach your heart to talk and give you love, 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 give you love, love?" I think that's quite profound. What they're saying there is like really true. There was a little bit more love in the world, people could fill their hearts and talk about love and be a different place. So just getting a little bit deep there for a moment, but
very deep.
Reflecting on those lyrics.
For the audio-descriptive people, Dan Budd just shed a tear.
Thank you, Dan. It's a great song, but I can't help feeling it's it feels to me a little bit like a linking song between Man and The Day the Work Is Done.
All right.
I don't know why. It's just sort of feels as though it in a good way. I guess they're all designed to sort of flow into one another.
Yeah, so it's still got that kind of electric ding 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 ding. Yeah, so I can see what you mean there, and that's quite the industrial feel of when the work's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the way Gary sings the first verse,
Right.
and Mark sings the second.
Yeah, I like that as well. Yeah.
Quite a nice touch. And then I had a slightly misheard lyric. Occasionally, I think I can hear them saying text instead of teach. So I hear, "Why don't you text your heart to fill?" They do sing teach in a weird sort of way when you listen to it. I don't know why you would text your heart, but I sometimes hear that.
I think in some songs they use words and try to make them fit. So you probably hear text, it's meant to be teach, but it's actually probably tetch. So it kind of fits. You know what I mean? It's like when people
there's a syllable removed.
Yeah, just so it works and flows better. Yeah. It's like some songs that will just hold a note and curve one word, like just to kind of make it flow with the rest of the song. So teach is quite but tetch just kind of flows off the tongue a little bit. So you're probably right there. It works better musically, but you know what it means.
Yes.
So there are two versions of the video, one showing clips from X-Men First Class and the other without it. It was directed by Alex and Leanne, who also made Kylie's Get Out of My Way video. So, I like the video. It's very futuristic feeling with all the lights and the colours, and it kind of looks like there's a spaceship in the middle of them, doesn't it?
Well, there's a drone at the beginning.
Is that
isn't
what
there?
it is?
There's a
That
drone.
sort of thing in the middle of them.
Oh, and there's something in the middle. I really like the futuristic opening with the drone hovering in the background.
Yeah.
It's shot on a really simple film studio stage, but the effects, lighting, cameras, dancing give it a real dynamic and edgy sort of feel. And then you even get that kind of blurry VHS style video effect and the crosshair from I would think the drone, or assumably from the drone. And then they're really serious all the way throughout it, like really serious, somber expressions. They're dancing around, except towards the end, which is I found really amusing. They start to sort of smile and smirk a little bit, including Robbie smirking straight into the face of one of the dancers. Of course, we've never seen him do that before. And I have a very strong feeling that part was actually improvised and not directed. I think that was Rob pissing about. And obviously, that's just my theory, and I think it stayed in. So there's a few other smiles just before that, I think, to soften it. So again, just picking up on Robbie being Robbie.
Mark's dancing in it. That's what I like.
You like Mark's? Is he doing his classic Mark dancing?
Yeah, I love Mark's dancing.
It's only the second time in this that you've mentioned Mark's dancing.
I know.
I think you might have a favourite.
Well, Robbie is my favourite, but Mark is my second favourite.
I think I'd do the same. Then Gary. Then Hal. Then Jace. Sorry, Jace.
Oh, I like Jason. I miss him.
He is missed.
Yeah. Well, my only thing I don't like about the video is that there's not enough Robbie in it. I feel like there's not enough close-ups of him.
The camera's sort of zooming around all over the place, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of like the camera is the drone in parts.
Yeah. Okay, so the next song is The Day the Work is Done. So Take That started this song while they were writing the Circus album. They played it to Rob and he loved it. It was due to be included on the main Progress album, but they couldn't agree on the final verse. And drums are by Carl Brazil again.
There were other musicians on the track.
I know there were, but it's just
we give Carl a shout out because he's Robbie's drummer.
He's Robbie's.
He came to one of my gigs not so long ago.
Oh, did he? That's nice.
Yeah, I was in Birmingham, and the owner of the place rents the room to Carl to rehearse with his band.
Yeah,
and
King Herd.
I went into my. Yes, that's the one. Went into my dressing room, and there was just a pile of drum stuff. And he said that, that's Carl's drum kit. I was like, I'm going to touch it. But not like in the Step Brothers movie. I didn't put anything of mine on the drum kit. Just looked at it. So, I'll tell you when you're older.
So was he
it's
nice?
Lost on us, that one. It sounds really.
He was lovely. He was so down to earth. I was literally went to the bar for a drink, and he was there with his son and his mum. And Carl, the guy who runs the venue, said, "Hey, up, Carl, this is Dan." And I was like, "Hi, mate. All right." I goes, "Mate, I've the last thing I asked for was a selfie." And then it goes, for some stupid reason, right? I thought it'd be really cool of me to say, "Any requests?" So I asked him if it was a specific song he'd like to hear. And he went, "Oh, Gold."
Oh, God.
Because he wrote Gold.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm like, thank God I had that track made.
Yeah, I can remember seeing you do that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you come to the Stoke?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Stoke at Norton. Yeah, that's probably the only time I've done it. That's only because Sarah and Ellen were like, "Oh, you should do stuff from Under the Radar." I was like, "Okay, I'll do Gold. That's a good one." Jesus Christ. It's sorry for blasphemy. Yeah, lucky I had that one. And it was dead weird. Afterwards, he was like, I said, "So, what do you reckon?" Kind of thing. He goes, "So weird, because usually when I'm on stage with Robbie, I'm looking at his arse the whole time." He goes, "It felt like I was in front of him I said it was dead weird. He said he's sounding amazing, and he said, but it was like watching Robbie from the front. It was dead weird.
Great.
Obviously, I was like, right, I've got to be on top form tonight. There's no hiding here. But yeah, what a lovely guy. And he was only meant to stop for the first half of the show. He ended up staying till the end.
Oh,
that was pretty cool.
Anyway, back to the day the work is done.
Yes, the song.
The song. Dan, do you like this one?
I didn't at first.
Right.
I didn't like it at all at first. I thought it was very theatrical, again, very 80s. I just thought it was disjointed as a song, and I thought it hides the fact that the lyrics are very basic with a musically powerful chorus. It doesn't really go anywhere. Yeah. The best part was the ending, and I don't mean that as in like the best part is when it was finished.
You're right.
As in like I thought it kind of ended just as it was kind of starting.
Yeah.
I thought it's very basic lyrics. You know, very much like what rhymes with that.
Yeah.
Oh, cat rhymes with that. Yeah, we'll put that in. It seemed like very B-side material.
Right. Well, I guess it
in my opinion,
in a way,
it kind of is.
Yeah.
But what did you think about it?
I like it. I like, as you say, I do like towards the end when it really slows, and it just sort of ends with Gary on the sort of, well, I think it is Gary playing like the synth or piano or whatever. I like that. That's like really beautiful, and it's like a big contrast to the rest of the song.
And it's probably why I felt uncomfortable like listening to it, because it's very different, very different, very out there.
Yeah.
I think I need to listen to it a few more times, but not in the gym.
Right.
It's very industrial feeling.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, but that's kind of what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah.
I do like the lyrics myself. They may be simple, but I like.
Just my opinion.
I like a place for everything till everything is in its place, because I'm of that mindset.
Again, though,
it is simple. Yeah.
Very simple. That's like me saying there's a drawer over there for things that belong in a drawer.
Well, it's something I say a lot in this house to our daughter, and she never listens, so her room's always a tip.
Yes, it is.
But it feels like it's about throwaway culture, this song, producing everything for everything to be replaced. So don't start thinking we can start again. It's, just the world. People are not treating the world very nicely.
Yeah. I felt it was very dystopian as well, very dark.
Yeah.
And
there's that word again.
Yeah. I think
dystopian.
It's I think it's how Mark thinks.
Yeah.
I reckon. Everything's like dark and industrial, and the machines are rising up, and we're just trashing the place, and everything's going to end. So it did. I think that may be why you felt a little bit kind of like how you did about that one, because it's sort of, I think, again, it's an incredible arrangement of a song, and the harmony when Barlow kicks in with the greatest story that was ever told and the lights of history, the classic harmonies from them there, was the grand designs of other men, and they built those walls for you and me. I mean, they could be classed as simple lyrics, but I think they work. And then the line, everybody's counting hours till the day the work is done.
Yeah.
That's kind of...
Because it's kind of what life is, really,
what
isn't
everyone's doing, isn't it? All the time.
Just working, just to...
Yeah.
And then I love that. I think there's a bit of a merging here of rock, pop, orchestral. I mean, they've all got that kind of feeling, but I think particularly in this one, I noticed the merging of the rock, pop, and orchestral together really sort of works and suits the song quite well.
Yeah, it's got like powerful strings in the background. That's what I noticed.
Yeah.
I think musically, the music saves the song for me.
Yeah.
Like that industrial feel, very steampunk feeling. I think quite a few of the songs on the album were very steampunk feeling. I don't know how to explain steampunk when it comes to music, but the costumes from the kids' video, very steampunk, you know,
Yes.
big tall hats and goggles on the hats. And when you see that and then you listen to the other songs, you kind of go, you know what, it's all very fitting.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go on to Beautiful next.
Yeah. On his website, Gary said, "This was another little song that eventually becomes strong and full of meaning. It's about Gary's recurring nightmare where after 20 years of getting to where he is now, he ultimately ruins everything."
Yeah, so it's kind of sad when you know that that's the story behind this song.
Yeah.
How to have and lose you all, how to be a disappointment, save your cheers and my applause, I never was worth fighting for. It's just like, it's his story really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. It's very sad that Gary actually has this recurring nightmare.
But he's kind of lived that nightmare, hasn't he? And that's why it's so...
I think the thing is, it proves to me that even the most successful and critically acclaimed people can get imposter syndrome, because that sounds very much what he's talking about there, which is where, you know, it's a psychological thing where you basically doubt your skills or your talents and your accomplishments, and then you have that persistent fear of being exposed as a fraud. You know, I can't, you know, this can't be me. You know, someone's gonna find me out eventually, and you know, I know a lot of people in the business world that kind of have that feeling some of the time. You know, I've felt it before, I must admit. I think it's like a human reaction to success and to things going well, and I think more people have it than most people might imagine. But I think when you're in the spotlight in particular, it must be difficult to deal with. But on the positive note, I really like the sort of really haunting, almost like barroom style piano, you know, like the sort of, do you know what I mean? Like the, I don't know. It didn't sound like a grand piano, put it that way. And then that thumping beat that gets going again, even though there's that odd slowed down ballad part, that energy sort of keeps going throughout. Yeah. What do you think, Dan?
I loved the upbeat tempo after the piano intro. It was a complete contrast to the intro, and I thought that the tempo of the song and the rhythm that Barlow was singing at the start was very much like the Killers. Somebody told me. It felt like a Killers song. I didn't think the lyrics matched the song musically, but I'm only saying that because, like you said about the you know, it's Gary's viewpoint of the imposter syndrome, and then the music, I thought it was like it sounded like a Chinese pop song, you know, in places, and I'm kind of going like a China. When you see those stereotypical like Chinese karaoke, you kind of know the song, but you have no idea what they're singing, and it's that kind of disjointedness, and I thought, it's really, really good, and it's really nice to listen to. But I couldn't get the Killers out of my head. And there was one when we spoke earlier on about when you said teach or text.
Yeah.
You know, I was like tetch. It's like he used words, I think, at some points as fillers. You know, when he didn't have something to rhyme or something to extend it that fits with the beat. And I've written here all. So there must be a part of it that's got all. Like all. So I don't know.
Lay all that's sinful down to rest. May all our judgments be confessed. We're all guilty now.
So I think
let's all take a bow. I spent all my mind on making sense. I hadn't noticed that. It's in there a lot.
See what I mean?
Yes.
But if you listen to how he says it in the song, it's almost like he's using it as a filler as well as a way of getting his message across.
Yeah.
It's like he like drags out the all musically.
Yes.
It's nice because he's not filling it with random stuff. This is literally like raw. You know, he's This is something he's felt, and he didn't want to tamper with that by making it fit the song.
Yeah.
So I thought that it was a really nice song. Like I said, the tempo of it I thought was very, very upbeat, very rock pop-esque, and the way that he delivered the lines was just reminded. I was like, "Is it Somebody Told Me?" And then I started singing it in my head, and I'm like, "Yeah, it is. It's like the bridge of Somebody Told Me. It's very much like the verses of the song. It's quite good. I enjoyed it. It was musically pleasing to me."
Yeah, it's definitely a banger.
It's a banger.
Yeah.
Banger.
It is a banger.
One thing I thought it reminds me of Gary's "Since I Saw You Last" song. I don't think just because of the story of the song.
Not the actual song itself.
Yeah, the lyrics.
Yeah, yeah. Again, that was very much, I think, imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Since I Saw You. We're not talking about Since I Saw You Last.
No, we're not. But
it's very much the same kind of sentiment behind it.
Yeah.
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 Ooh.
Mm.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
Right. Well, the next song is "Don't Say Goodbye."
Yeah.
Gary said that everyone had been disappointed not to have included this on Progress, but they couldn't finish it. When they worked on it for Progressed, they knew what sound they were looking for. Gary described it as one of his favourites, thrilling and powerful. There you go. Do you want to go first, Matt?
I think this song gets straight into business with that very high Barlow vocal. I still can't really detect much of Williams' backing vocal on this.
Right.
I'm sure he was involved. I think it's a really powerful song indeed, with powerful, meaningful lyrics, very powerful vocals, just generally powerful.
Yeah, it is.
You've got that usual trademark harmony, but I don't know, you can't get bored of that incredible harmony they do. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
And I think there's also a really powerful message behind the lyrics here. Don't say goodbye to me when I'm gone. Keep moving forward with your life and live well, is what I took from it. So positive kind of get on with life.
I took it as like a preamble to Go Gentle. It's like a song for their kids. Don't stay where you're not loved. Those people obscure the view.
Yeah.
If I've done my job, they won't want to mess with you. I like that line. And live with your mother's smile, but see you through daddy's eyes. And you might lose your dignity, but it's not what it used to be. Take that talking about their dignity after they've done the Do What You Like video.
Telling me so many times you can bathe in jelly.
Yeah.
I think they did it once. Yeah, it's like when you mention take that, you kind of go, the jelly.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, doing that at the beginning of their career, to think that was the start of their career, and what they've achieved since then is just mind-blowing, isn't it? Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? Actors can do crap films and like people sort of overlook it or don't know anything about it unless they're like really hardcore fans. But musicians and boy bands don't seem to get away with it quite so easily.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the stigma of Ozzy Osbourne with the bat.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You think Ozzy Osbourne, you think biting a head off a bat. When you think of Robbie Williams.
Was it a bird? I don't know.
It was a bat, I think.
Was it a bat?
Yeah. When you think Robbie Williams, you think of the Let Me Entertain You makeup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Angels.
There's a certain angels, but when you see like an aesthetic, I kind of think black and white face makeup, Kiss, black and white face makeup, big boots. Take that, rolling around in jelly.
Yeah. It's a memory imprint.
Chaps.
Yes.
Chaps and vests.
Yeah.
See, I thought it was interesting listening to your perspectives. I am a massive James Bond fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this was very, very James Bond.
Yeah.
Almost like Barlow's version of the soundtrack for The World Is Not Enough. It had that kind of feel to it, with the big orchestra feel in the background. and I couldn't escape. Every time I heard it on shuffle, I was like, "This is the James Bond song." This, I thought it'd be very good for No Time to Die, the latest Bond film, just because when we was talking about everything coming to an end, I was like, well, that's the end of Daniel Craig. That's the end of his Bond persona.
Spoiler
I thought,
alert.
yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, well, you're sad.
Or is it?
Or is it? I literally thought James Bond instantly. I thought it's very, very beautiful. He took notes that only GB can. When you think of anybody else doing that song, I think if Sam Smith sung it, it would be a James Bond song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's like if Sam Smith sung Bully or someone sung Robbie sung Bully. I thought Bully was a contender for a James Bond song for sure. And this had the same kind of vibes, but more of a classic James Bond feel. I wonder how many times, if we had like a tick point at the bottom of the thing for every time I said James Bond, and bing, 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 bing.
It's a good title for a James Bond film
is.
as well. Don't Say Goodbye. There you go.
Oh, I thought you were on like bing, 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 bing. Yeah, bing, bing, bing,
I
bing.
can edit
bing,
those
bing.
in later on.
Yeah, bing. Great name for a James Bond bing song.
It's definitely got a heartwarming message, and it's a beautiful song. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
100%.
So, shall we talk about aliens?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we believe in aliens?
Yeah.
I believe
in aliens, Stan?
I believe there's something there.
Yeah, it's got to be, isn't there?
Without,
Robbie on this one.
Yeah, I do think this can't be the only planet in the solar system that's got life on it, and to them, we are a what if.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going to get very Scientology on you or anything like that, but I do think life's out there. We just haven't got the technology or perspective to find it.
We know that Rob's very open-minded in this respect. Although he says he's sort of finished that chapter, I don't think he really has. I think he's still quite open-minded about what's out there.
Yeah.
And on that vein, many people assumed this was written by Rob, but Gary said on his website, and Rob confirmed in a 2011 blog, that Mark wrote it. There's a reference to... yeah, exactly.
Not surprised.
There's a reference to H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds in the first two lines. No one could have believed in the last years of the 19th century that this world was being watched keenly and closely by intelligences greater than man's, and yet mortal as his own. It talks about humans turning into machines and humans' exploration of AI possibly meaning the end of humanity.
I love this song. This is one of my favourites.
Tell us why you love it, Lucy.
On this album. I've just got a great memory of dancing around the kitchen while cooking the kids' dinner when Chloe was about 6 months old or something, entertaining myself whilst stuck in the house, and then my friend happened to message me, and because the album had only just come out, and said, "Cool, how great is Aliens?" And I was like, "Yeah, it is," and I'm listening to it right now. And I reckon I was thinking might be Jason doing the robotic part at the start on this.
Right.
The H.G. Wells bit.
I love that bit at the beginning.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, it is. It's just, I think it's another banging song.
Banging.
And it's like, I like hearing Howard on the verses, and it's just, also it reminds me of Cry. I don't know why. It's got that sort of just a big feel about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The Sigma song that Take That did.
Mm.
And it's kind of eerie as well. It suits the Aliens theme, the way it sort of comes and goes musically. Perfect vocals. I wrote that down. Yeah. What do you think?
See, it's funny when you quoted the first line of the film, we had about man. That's why I thought it was a reference to like the song Man talking to Alien, because Alien mentions men and man mentions aliens, so it's kind of like it's very entwined, and you can play them directly after each other, and it seems like a complete story, but from a different perspective. It's really cool. I do like the bam bam, the punch of it. I thought it was a great dance beat. If you played this even without the vocals, you'd be able to dance to it, but with the vocals on it as well, which I thought were very much like the band Muse. In ways, if you just the way that Howard delivers some of the lines, it's very Muse-esque in ways, and what isn't to like? It's like a proper 90s pop song, but released in the 2000s. It's brilliant. It's like, for me, it was like a career filler, because obviously the 90s would very much take that, and then they made this big comeback. If they did that comeback before Beautiful World and the Circus, with a full 5-piece band, with Rob's input, with Rob's I've seen aliens, I've witnessed aliens kind of perspective, this would have been so much more in fitting with that time, but so ahead of its time. It's just a timeless track, in my opinion, and I thought it was very in keeping with the rest of the bangers on the actual Progress album. I thought it could have been on the Progress album.
Oh, definitely.
And nobody would have batted an eyelid and gone, "Oh, this is a bit weird." You know.
I like the image that the line, "and all the animals in the park are waiting for their dinner to come."
Yes, I like that.
I like imagining that.
It's a very random line to put into a song, but it still works, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I love what you said, Dan, about Muse, actually. Obviously, I'm slightly biased because I love Muse. But they're always talking about, limits to growth, and, we can't live endlessly on the planet. And, their songs are often like this. So, I wonder if there's any Muse fans in Take That. So I wonder if any of them are bit influenced by some of that, because I think you raise a good point there.
Yeah, I mean, I think
maybe Mark, Howard, possibly Howard.
I mean, he listens to some proper weird stuff. just hearing him DJ, oh,
yeah.
But then saying that, I've already mentioned the Killers, Muse, James Bond, all these different influences, and Rob with Mixed Signals. He heard that. I was originally done for the Killers, and he was like, "I like that. I want that. I'm having that." And then I think he's done it live twice.
I know. Such a shame. It's a waste.
It's an amazing song. But you can see all these influences and stuff. So I wonder if there is a secret Muse fan.
Well, I wonder if it goes back to that quote at the beginning, doesn't it? About them not just continuing the boy band cliche pop stuff. I mean, this isn't, is it at all?
No.
I mean, it's just it's almost got its own genre for this album, particularly Aliens. We'll get Lucy to recreate that dancing around in the kitchen. Cooking, and we'll put that on the episode website for those of you that want to see that. Just recreate that moment.
You've seen my boy band dancing. It's about time I see your boy band dancing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fair.
It's fair.
And I love the distorted sort of rock vibe in the arrangement on this one. It's an epic arrangement. Again, there's just so much going on in the song, but it all works. It all has its place. And you have to, if you're not even singing along to the song itself, you have to sing the alien line. You just have to sing along with it. And again, it just keeps pumping the energy all the way through. Good song.
Great song.
Yeah, I love it.
Banger.
I love it. It's a banger. Okay, so let's go to Wonderful World. Gary says that Mark created the song from music Gary gave him. And Gary described it as beautiful and hypnotic. And that's all I've got on it. It's very difficult to find information on these songs, unfortunately. So I noticed that Take That quite like to finish their albums with a ballad. Don't know if you've noticed that. It's
I
quite
do.
often a ballad at the end of their albums. I like the line, "Time was all we had, but it was never ours to keep." It's a beautiful, haunting song. I love Mark on it. It feels like it could be on one of Mark's albums.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And at the clock ticking at the end, to me, signals the end of Take That as a 5-piece. It's like time is running out, and the clock's ticking, and then the bell rings, and that's it. That's the end of Take That as a 5-piece. We'll never have them again, unless you go and see Rule the World with Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it sort of feels just the way it ends like that. That's what it always makes me think.
School's over now. They're grown up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ticking down, watching the clock, counting it down. Bell rings. School's over. It's not in session anymore. We're all adults now. Just grow up, move on. That kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think?
Definitely a track you need headphones to listen to, because when you listen to it through headphones, it's the most incredible and immersive opening. It just sounds totally different. So yeah, listen to it with headphones if you haven't before. And again, it's just under 1 minute before the actual lead vocal kicks in. So I've noticed that, I'm assuming Gary has this trick. It's normally about 52, 53 seconds. I'm sure it's bars actually, but you know, in my speak it's seconds. So he has this little formula of a 50 something second intro that I've noticed that just seems to work.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love the lyric, "Time was all we had, but it was never ours to keep."
Yeah.
What a wonderful world this is. Yes. It is sometimes. The track reminds me about the whole album, really, you know, about life, time, love, and we need to have the best life possible, love a lot, and remember that time is always running out.
Yeah.
You know,
Make
and
the
then
most
obviously
of it.
that stopwatch at the end, like, and then the bell, it's like, oh shit, that's it.
Yeah. No going back. There's no second chance now.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Dan?
You're going to hate me for this.
No, he doesn't like it.
This was this morning in the gym. I wrote these notes, right? Because I've been listening to them over and over again, hoping to get a different. Like, some of them grew on me. Some of them didn't go past go or collect £200. And this is one of them ones. It was probably my least favourite out of all the songs I listened to. I thought it was like a church hymn met an 80s nursery rhyme. You know, and I was glad the bell went at the end.
Oh no.
Because it meant that was over and I didn't have to go back and listen to it. I know that was my Simon Cowell for this song. That was a very
All
negative
opinions
look. I'm going to get so much hate mail. But yeah, it might be because it's the first song I listened to this morning. When I got in the gym, I pressed shuffle and this one came out because it's the shortest notes that I've written. And then I listened to the charity song after. We'll get to that later, folks. And that kind of lifted me up a little bit, I think, and then I got a bit more positive. But I was grouchy at 6 o'clock this morning, guys. I'm sorry. It's a beautiful song. Everybody should love it and listen to it. No. Out of all the songs that I got to listen to, this is definitely my least favourite. But
Right.
I can appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Well, maybe we should
Very
move
honest
on.
opinion, and we thank you for that.
No worries.
We don't have to like, as I said before on
there's
the
been
podcast,
songs
we
I
don't
haven't
we
liked.
can't all like
Yeah.
everything, and
Yeah.
it's good to have different perspectives on
That's
it.
why not everybody on
So-
the planet to take that fan. And for me,
Yeah.
that's a
Maybe.
criminal offence. You know, but for some, it's like, well, you know, they were great in the 90s because that's what I remember. And then you go to, I do these festivals and you're singing even songs like Let Me Entertain You, Angels, Feel, Rock DJ, and you're looking at these clueless kids hugging the barrier, going, "When a Little Mix on."
Oh God.
You know, when's Ollie Murs on? And I'm like, Robbie worked with Ollie Murs. Who's Robbie? Me. I'm doing Robbie on this big show behind. And so usually Michelle go, "You have no idea what I'm doing, do you?" And they kind of just go, "Who's listening?" Dan Budder's got a very puzzled look on his face, and he's shaking his head in a no motion. But yeah, I don't know if I worded it right. I don't know if you can kind of listen to it and go, "Yeah, I see what he means about a nursery rhyme."
Mm.
You know, and
I'll have to have another listen and see.
Listen to it in my shoes.
Okay.
Put yourself in my
Maybe
position.
it could also say that song can't be listened to on its own. Maybe it has to be listened to in the flow of the
album.
Possibly. I'm not trying to make it better.
No, I
just
can
saying,
get that now.
Maybe it's one of those which doesn't work so well on its own. I don't know.
Yeah, followed by
better positioned at the end of the album.
Yeah, maybe if I listen to that and I listen to the songs in order as presented, because I'm guessing a lot of thought, a lot of time, and a lot of study goes into the format of an album, just like it does a set list for a show. You know, so you kind of listening to it at 6 o'clock in the morning and finishing listening to these songs at 8 o'clock when you're awake and you're wired might have been the wrong way of doing this one. So I will give it another listen. I will give it another try, and I will leave all my inhibitions in a not so wonderful world and listen to Wonderful World as it's meant to be listened to. Yeah.
Good.
Just for you. If Lucy says it's a banger, it's a banger.
I don't think I called this one a banger.
Oh dear, okay.
No, you didn't quite stretch that far.
I said it was a beautiful, haunting song. That's what I said about this one.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
Let's go on to Rocket Ship.
Okay.
Yes, talk about some other stuff now.
Yeah, another one I didn't like. Ship. No, I'm joking. I did like this one.
So this was the B-side to Kids, and the drums were by Carl again. And just once again, there were other musicians on the track, but Carl was doing the drums.
So for me, I because it was a B-side, I never played it as much as I would other songs. And I had never noticed how amazing the lyrics were until I was doing this podcast and actually really listened to it. And it kind of feels like it's like Robbie's story, or maybe Gary's story about the Take That, and the story of them all coming back together again. They've all got each other back, and they're happy to be pop stars again, and they're all the happier for it. I could not see things straight or find my angel. A reference to Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
It's making me better now, almost human now, made it up somehow. Then you asked me to stay, no way, I couldn't move, and you held me so tight. And this line here, I prayed for reinvention, a final resolution of catastrophic consequences and solution. That to me sounds like a Robbie lyric.
Anything that's got the word catastrophic, or anything that's bigger than his intellect is definitely a Robbie lyric. He's got this way with words where you've seen him on his live videos when he's just bambling on about nothing, and then he'll just use these massive words to space fill, and then he'll go, "That's actually a really good word, that." You know, and you can hear it in some of his songs. In interviews as well, when he's saying like the grandesqueness of everything.
Grandiose.
Yeah, exactly.
What's that word? See, we can't even think of the word.
What is it now? In Heavy Entertainment Show, I am notorious for making all the crowds sing the choreos.
Oh yeah,
choreos.
I just made up that word. So anything that's got like a big philosophical word in it that's completely different to what you hear in a Take That song, you know that Robbie's had input. And I thought it was very, very cleverly written, and I didn't like it at first. I'm not gonna lie, but again, I listened to this after the song that we're talking about in a second, charity song. So in order, I went Wonderful World, charity song, which gave me a chuckle, and then Rocket Ship. But it grew on me. The more I listened to it, the more it took off.
Yeah, it is a grower, I'd say.
And it was just the vibe of the song was very. It felt engaging and interactive and very engrossing. And I just thought the more I listened to it, the more I loved the vibe and the lyrics and what it meant more and more. I just thought it was a really, really nice song.
And another line I liked is, like a rocket ship in the galaxy, we were back where we belong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they were back, 5 of them together.
Yes, that's true.
Where they belong.
I had the immediate feeling that this track was from the 80s when I first heard it. It had the 80s vibe. I think it was like the guitar and the piano at the beginning. It sounds like another song, and I couldn't for the life of me think exactly what it was. I'm sure it'll come to me one day, but it gives me that 80s vibe.
Yeah.
It's quite a long track as well, 5 minutes long.
Oh, is it? I hadn't noticed.
Is it
very, very powerful lyrics.
Is it exactly 5 minutes long?
And almost.
Because that could be
might be 4:59.
That could be symbolic of 5 members as well.
Yeah, it could,
well,
yeah.
I never thought of that. It's just unusual, isn't it, to get most album tracks are sort of 3.5.
Well, it's the B-side, but
yeah,
most songs are generally.
And I'm sure, Lucy, that you'll have played this to me in the past when it first came out, but I don't really have any memory of it. Most people won't be surprised of that, because my memory's not the best anyway. But so researching it for the podcast, it felt like the first time listening to it. And it's a lovely song. And I think I do agree with you. It's probably good enough to be on the album.
Yeah, I really like it. Because it's their story. Yeah.
Mm.
And a lot of the album has been their story anyway. That's what Rob wanted to write about, wasn't it, mostly?
Well, yeah, I mean, how many other times in history have a band split and got together so many times? Or whenever has a band split up and then come back bigger and better than they were previously, and then were able to rekindle relationships with former bandmates and make it even bigger, it's just... And
all have a creative say. I mean, it's unheard of, really.
I watched a documentary recently that's only just surfaced called Get Back, the Beatles story. And you can see John and Paul McCartney sat there in a soundstage talking about trying to write songs together and saying that the chemistry wasn't the same as it was before, kind of thing. Whereas now everything's been let go, because back in the 90s, it was very much all Gary writing the songs. And then when you hear them say, oh, well, we went to Rob's house in LA and did some there, we did some in London, we did some here, we did some there, we did some everywhere, just to get the different feels and vibes and inputs. It's just, really cool to see it all on 2 albums. That could have been 1.
Yeah.
So should we...
Yeah, before we move on to a few songs that Robbie collaborated on, just to talk about the Progress Live CD and DVD.
Yeah, on the 21st of November 2011, the Progress Live DVD and CD were released. It was recorded at Manchester's Etihad Stadium on the 10th and 11th of June. The live album was Take That's second live CD, and it hit number 12 in the UK.
The DVD was a 2-disc set, which included behind-the-scenes footage from each city. The DVD was number 1 in the UK, Ireland and Netherlands, number 2 in Germany and Italy, and 3 in Denmark. On the first 2 days the DVD was on sale, it was reported that it was selling twice as much as the entire music DVD chart combined. It sold over 200,000 copies in 2 weeks in the UK.
Crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy for a DVD. You can see it just behind.
Yeah, I can see the yellow. It stands out. It stands out a mile.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
There was a lovely collector's box set in a big yellow box with the live CD, DVD, photo booklet and postcards of each of the lads.
Sounds lovely.
It was a lovely collector's piece. Wasn't it, Matt? It was lovely.
Not that you're biased.
It was. It's nice, and yeah, there it is.
Ding. Insert arrows.
Yeah, I watched it 3 times recently while we were doing the progress research. When I had COVID, I was stuck in the bedroom, and I enjoyed it so much I put it on 3 times in a week.
Only 3. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, going on to the few songs that Robbie did at the time. Collision of Worlds, which was on the Cars 2 soundtrack.
Yeah, this was written especially for Pixar's Cars 2 soundtrack by Robbie and American country music singer Brad Paisley, who sold 11 million albums and won 3 Grammys. Collision of Worlds appeared at the end of the credits. Apparently, Rob and Brad bonded through the writing process, sharing a similar, self-effacing sense of humour. But their differences proved to be an asset. Brad said, "When we sat down to write, Robbie started throwing things at me that were British colloquialisms. We had a lot of fun with that."
They wrote back and forth lyrics on the verses, highlighting word choice dichotomy like good old boy and decent bloke, and bangers and mash and meat and potatoes. During the chorus, they realised that they're both really the same. The song was shortlisted among 39 songs for an Oscar nomination, but didn't make the final list. Rob said, "The song drew all of its inspiration from the movie. Brad arrived with his guitar, playing me what he had in mind for this song, and we immediately found ourselves in tune, even though we come from 2 different worlds."
The line "pistachio ice cream" is actually sung by Larry the Cable Guy, who provided the voice of Mater. As he said in the film, "Whatever you do, do not eat the free pistachio ice cream. It has turned."
I don't remember
it well. Yeah. Brad said, "A rock and roll song with one of the most talented people I've ever met, Robbie Williams. The aim was precisely to unite an American and an English musician and put them together on something that was not really their musical genre."
Yeah. So Dan,
just on that last note about it not being their musical genre, I completely disagree with that from Robbie's perspective. I mean, obviously from Brad's point, he's used to,
yeah.
Yeah.
It was Brad that said that.
Yeah, Brad said it.
But to kind of...
I think he was saying
I was
about
going to say, kind of
himself.
like, oh, I'm really out of my comfort zone. I mean, we were really out of our comfort zone. Yeah. I was going to say, it's very Old Before I Die kind of vibe.
Yes.
But the one thing that it kind of made me think of it is the half was Rob did a song for Johnny English called "A Man for All Seasons," and I kind of got that vibe from it, and I just thought it was very well written to make all those different factors fit. Like dollars, cash, just to kind of get them to flow so easily. And if they didn't flow, they just switched the order. So, it's instead of going being American English, they just go English American, and it still works really, really well. The interesting thing for me with this song is it wasn't sung. I thought it was more performed. It was acted. Because he had some very, authentic Robbie British, like parts in it. Like it's like, I can't remember.
God Save the Queen.
It's just like stuff like that. Just the way he delivered the lines, it was like it took it away from being a song and made it more of a. You could visualize it, and as they were saying these things, you can see them and you can feel the comparison. And you're like, oh, this is really clever, really. And then when it comes together as the chorus just worked as a bridge between all these variables.
Random kind of things.
Like the line, "We're not all that different, you and me." I was like, yeah, we're not. I worked on cruise ships, American cruise ships, and as soon as they found out I was British, like the first question was, "Oh, how's the Queen? Is she okay?" I'm like, yeah, she texted me this morning. She's sound. Yeah. She's a bit of a tummy bug, but she's all right. She'll get through it. It's just that talking to Americans and working with them and being around them and seeing how the differences are. It was so, but everything, it's so different. The cultures are so different, and like we're so used to our culture that we forget that there's other cultures and ways of doing things and saying things. And I was talking to an Australian. I was like, mate, I hear people say "struth" a lot. What does "struth" mean? It's like things like that. So when you can hear the comparisons side by side, you kind of go, "Oh, that's quite educational. I like that. I like it. Catchy. It's got a good beat."
It is. What do you reckon, Matt?
I was just thinking, actually, talking about American culture. It reminds me, we were in the kitchen the other day talking about something with our kids, and Luke said, I think we were talking about Wordle, and he said, "Oh, I didn't realise there was a Z in it."
Oh,
We're
yeah.
like, "What are you talking about?" "Well, Z. Do you mean a Z?" "No, I mean a Z." And then we said to him, "Yeah, but we say Z." He said, "Yeah, but I've been brought up on American YouTube videos." They say trash and yeah. So they have a whole mix. So they'd probably listen to this song and go, "Yeah, we know all those words."
U-R-S-T.
There's a different generation.
W-X-Y-Z.
So not that we're bringing them up on YouTube. We're responsible parents, like everybody else. But I love the contrast, like you said, the dichotomy of the words and the culture. And I was sort of going through it, and I was looking at the written lyrics, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's clever, that's clever." And I was like, "Oh, suddenly Autobahn's in there, so Germany got a look in as well." About? Obviously, that rhymed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Autobahn to the rising sun. But it
I guess it's European.
It's fun. I mean, wasabi's in there as well, and Tabasco, and
wasabi, Japanese. But said by Rob.
I am. But although Brad was saying that it was a bit of a different genre for him, I'd quite like if it wasn't written for the family audience. I think it'd be quite an amusing and humorous adult
hookers, strippers.
Yeah. I think there would be plenty more that they could go after. That I reckon they probably did when they were recording this, but it didn't. It didn't get onto the
Robbie
film.
being an excited little boy going in there, going.
You know how his brain goes.
He'd have gone in there, going, "Oh,
definitely.
What rhymes with titties? Can we say titties? I've lived in LA. They say titties. We say boobs." Yeah.
Exactly. There you go. I reckon there is a different version of it out there. Yeah, and I think Lucy's already said it. I love the lyric, "Yeah, you're a good old boy. Well, you're a decent bloke. I say it's irony. I say it's a joke."
Yeah.
Good fun
song.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think you can't help but focus on all the lyrics because it's just you can't just have this song on in the background almost. You actually have to listen to it because it's just so enjoyable. And it does get stuck in my head, I find.
So I'm going to have to put it out on a show now. I'm going to have to try and remember all the UK version. The clean UK.
Yeah, you could add some. Yeah, you could add some.
Maybe at the Mayfield.
Okay, so let's go on to the next song, which is Charity Song, which Dan has mentioned a couple of times.
Yeah, I've mentioned it a few times.
No.
Yeah, it's been name-checked once or twice.
So, Charity Song appears on Chris Moyle's The Difficult second album. So Chris Moyles was BBC Radio 1's breakfast DJ from 2004 to 2012. He had 8 million listeners a day.
That's big. Just sorry to interrupt you, but just for international listeners, it was like the UK's biggest radio show at the time. Massive, massive, massive. 8 million's a lot in the UK.
He released his first album of parody songs in 2009, which sold 150,000 copies and was certified gold. This second album came out on the 5th of November 2012 and charted at number 13 in the UK but it was only in the charts for 1 week and it wasn't as successful. The reviews are fairly scathing as well when you look at them.
Yeah.
The album featured guest appearances like Gary Barlow on Insane, which was a parody of Shame, Not That Polite with Ollie Murs, which was Dance With Me Tonight, and Pissed With Pie with Ed Sheeran.
Charity Song was written by Chris and his friends Dave Bethel and Sandy Beach, real name Carl Preston. It was written and produced to sound like a typical charity song with different singers doing different parts of the song. Robbie sings a couple of lines. It also features Gary, Ollie, Pixie Lott, Ed Sheeran and Danny O'Donoghue from the script. Rob sings the lines, "You might be thinking, how can this lot sleep at night? We've all got lovely mattresses, so we sleep all right." That's his line. Sings it better than I said it, probably.
Yes.
He does.
So I quite like this song because it is a good piss take of charity songs, the way it's been produced. It does sound like a charity record, a genuine charity record. And it does make me laugh. It shows what a big name Chris was, that he was actually able to get all these people to sing those lyrics, though, you know? Things like heated swimming pools cost more than you might think and stuff like that.
Does. He had a lot of power in those days.
Yeah. And I do really like it, actually. It's just, but it's not really one that I would choose to listen to, let's put it that way. If it comes on shuffle, sometimes I'll play it for a laugh, but generally I'll probably skip it. But it does make me giggle.
I'm intrigued to know what.
I didn't actually listen to it. No, I'm joking. Of course I did. I loved. I've not heard this before. Researching them, it was when it first started. I was like, "This is Chris Moyles. This isn't going to be. It could be sincere if it is a charity song." I'm like, "Oh, this is good." And when it starts singing, and I'm like, "Oh, it's quite. Oh, hang on a minute. This is getting good." It was just so sincere to start, and then when you listen to the words and you hear people like Gary Barlow, you know, just coming in and singing a line for a song that's not a charity song, and they could have really discredited themselves by being a part of it, but they didn't. You know, what's the line? I really want a house in, is it Barcelona?
By a villa in Spain or Portugal.
Like really throwaway lines, and you just it's like a big powerful Spain. Oh, Portugal! It's like you can almost picture them at the start of the song, very Westlife Boyzone, white coats, you know, on an empty stage, being really sincere, and then all of a sudden there's just this big piss take that's just like, the lyrics made me laugh no matter how many times I listened to it. I was just like, this is just genius, and why would I ever think that Moyles was going to do a sincere song? Why did I think charity song? What? But then again, then I thought, why would he call it charity song if it's a charity song? You know what I mean? It just, some of the lyrics tickled me so much, more than it should, I think. And I still don't know what the message is.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It's just a piss take, isn't it?
Well, what I was reflecting on is when he was at Radio 1, so 2004 until 2012, you know, he called himself the saviour of Radio 1.
Yeah.
Because a few years before that, Radio 1 was having a bit of a dip in listeners, and I don't know, the morning show wasn't doing, breakfast show's always the big shows, and it wasn't doing so well, and he came along and he kind of pulled it off, and he was really big-headed about it and said, I'm the saviour, and I did it. And he had a lot of power, a lot of sway on Radio 1 back then, and he used to famously like walk out of meetings and say, I'm not going to play the playlist, and you know, he got himself into so much trouble, but then was still really successful despite all of that. And then I remember he started bringing in, he had the Chris Moyle's Singers or something. I can't remember what they were called, but he had like this regular sort of session choir group ensemble. And they used to do silly little ditties like nearly every day, wasn't it? There was something stupid. And he always used to change the jingle. So he was playing and experimenting with all this for a long, long time. And so all the listeners to the shows are beginning to get used to it. And then I don't know. I mean, I don't know the exact history, but I assume that he just got to the point where he was like, this is something I can do, and put out on an album. And obviously all the celebrities were up for it as well.
Well, he's friends with them.
Exactly.
So just asked them and they did it.
And I mean, the song, I could make myself quite unpopular here, and I've always liked Chris Moyles, and I've supported him like in the early days, and then when he switched over to Radio X, he was good, and he didn't play the playlist there either, which was quite fun because it's supposed to be all indie cool stuff, and he wanted to play the cheesy pop stuff. I know it's a piss take parody song, and it's supposed to be slightly outrageous and funny, but it makes me feel really uncomfortable listening to it because it is hilarious, but you're like, oh, I guess that's a parody. It's supposed to feel like that. But I don't know. It just leaves me that weird feeling. And it just goes on and on and on. It doesn't seem to actually stop. Especially lines like, don't be disappointed. We're not as rich as you may think because illegal downloads are killing us. I mean, that's brilliant. I also particularly like the Rob. Oh, I love that line. I said it earlier on about Rob and you might be thinking, how can this lot sleep at night? We've all got lovely mattresses, so we sleep all right. I mean,
it kind of doesn't really sound quite like Rob. I find it. He sounds a bit overproduced.
Tuned, yes, I think most people are auto-tuned a little bit on there.
Yeah.
Lucy.
Yes.
Shall we move on to ILMP?
Yeah.
What does that stand for?
You can say it.
Do you want me to say it?
I knew I'd have to say it.
Yeah, you can say
it, Dan. What's that stand for?
I love my personal space. No, I love my penis.
Yes, from Chris Moyles, the difficult second album.
So a second song on that album.
Obviously, this was also written by Chris Moyles, Dave Bethel and Sandy Beach, and it was sung as a duet by Chris and Robbie. And it may come as a surprise to some of our international listeners, I'm sure. Obviously, if you've tracked absolutely everything Robbie's done, you'll have this one and you'll have heard it, but it is difficult to find. So, it's on YouTube.
It's not on Spotify or Apple Music.
It's been taken off of Spotify and Apple Music. Yeah.
For good reason as well.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first on this one then?
Ladies first, I think. I think on this one, I want to see a lady's perspective on loving her penis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's a swing song. I'll describe it as that. So I can understand why he chose Robbie.
It is a swing song, yes.
Why he chose Robbie.
There's definitely something swinging.
I knew you were going to say that. I was waiting for you to say it.
You set him up, he'll knock him down.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty cringe song as far as I'm concerned. And I'm surprised Rob did it, but I know he likes to be controversial and he likes a joke. No, it didn't resonate with me, no.
Did you not?
He sings it well. Struggling for things to say. Basically, it's meant to be a comedic song, but I'm not sure it really is. And the line, I watch anything presented by Holly Willoughby, I bet she'd love my penis. That is the line that I particularly don't like. Because it's not really appropriate, I don't think, to say things like that.
The parody is supposed to be on the edge. I think that's gone over the edge slightly.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I listened to it once and once only.
Oh, did you?
Only because I couldn't download it.
Oh, right. Yeah. To me, I think the less said about this song, the better.
Yeah.
We'll move on. Let someone else speak.
So let's let Dan say more about this song then. Off you go.
It's a self-defecating, self-loving, obnoxious song.
Yes.
It definitely won't be debuting in my show anytime soon. I just didn't. I could see what they were trying to do God, that's very Paul Hollywood. I can see what they were trying to do, but the execution of it wasn't great. It just didn't hit the mark. It was funny, but in an awkward way. You know, it was like why? I'm laughing because there's a 5-year-old in me somewhere laughing at the word penis, and there's a 20-year-old me laughing at the fact that it's on a song, and then there's a 32-year-old me laughing because I can't download it, and no music host wants it on their site.
Yes.
You know, they've got the whole album for you to listen to and download on Spotify, but that song's in grey and you can't touch it. I think I even messaged you saying it won't let me download that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I listened to it, I was like, yep, that's probably why.
I think, you've both said it all, really. I think it's difficult to know what to say about this one. I mean, as I said, parody songs are supposed to be on the edge. They're supposed to make you sort of cringe a little bit. But like Lucy says, it's a little bit too cringe. I think it's also because it's done in that classy swing style. So the swing arrangement and the band and the orchestra behind it is just spot on. Yeah. And then that's why it's so cringeable, because it's like, it sort of fucks with your head, basically. Because the lyrics and the music are so opposed to each other, because you're not rude with a swing song. You know, okay, Robbie is occasionally, but not quite in that crass sort of way. No. Usually it's in some sort of fun, meaningful sort of way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why Robbie got slammed when he did the Albert Hall. A lot of people were really like Robbie singing swing, but he swears too much. You know, and a lot of people said that. I mean, I remember my nan saying, "Oh, yeah, I watched. Oh, he's got a brilliant voice, hasn't he? But why does he have to say fuck so much?"
Did she actually say that to
you?
She actually repeated the word.
No, she did. Because, believe it or not, the apple does not fall that far from the tree in my family. But yeah, I thought she was going to be very sincere. She goes, "I watched it, Albert Hall. It was on Christmas Eve with Robbie. I love it when you sing Bojangles. I loved Robbie when he sang it, but why does he have to say fuck so much?" And I just went, guys, it's his thing, isn't it?
It is.
You know, he's a sweary pop star.
So, yes, and I'm sure, as I said at the beginning, if you've never heard it, go and check it out. You probably won't want to listen to it again, but you know, it is part of Robbie's career history.
Yes.
Fortunately or unfortunately, it's not one I'll be listening to much again.
No.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
So let's move on to Munequita Linda Te Quiero Dijiste, which is a duet with Thalia. So Thalia is one of the best-selling Latin music artists of all time, sometimes called the Queen of Latin Pop by international media, having sold 25 million records. She now has dual American citizenship too.
The album featuring this song was released on the 19th of November 2012 and went 3 times platinum in Mexico, platinum in Venezuela and gold in the USA. Michael Bublé also sung on one of the tracks.
Thalia said, "As for Robbie Williams, it was a dream to collaborate with him since I really admire his work. I invited him to sing with me a mambo song, Munequita Linda, that was made popular by the voice of Nat King Cole. I knew he was the only one that could understand the irony of rescuing this classic mambo masterpiece. I sent the song to him. He loved the idea of recording it in Spanish, and the result was spectacular."
The song was written by Maria Griever, born in 1885, who was the first Mexican composer to achieve international acclaim. She's best known for the song What a Difference a Day Makes, but she wrote more than 1,000 songs. It was originally released in 1930 by Alfonso Ortiz Tirado. Nat King Cole covered it in 1958, Cliff Richard and the Shadows in 1963. There we go.
So I looked it up, and apparently it means beautiful little doll. And to my ear, Robbie sings it very well.
Yeah.
But obviously I'm not Spanish speaking, so I wouldn't have a clue if he's messing any words up. I'm sure it was very hard for him to record it. I think he does these things like word by word pretty much, doesn't he, with someone telling him exactly how to say it. Yeah, it's a beautiful little song, nicely sung, but not one I really listen to very much because I don't understand it.
Well, it's a lovely song, and since Lucy couldn't understand it, I've done a little translation here.
Okay.
Now, sorry to any Spanish speakers out there, because this was a Google translation. I think it's pretty close, and the lyrics are beautiful. I won't say the Spanish bits. So it's pretty doll with golden hair, of pearl teeth, ruby lips. Tell me if you love me like I adore you, if you remember me as I do, and sometimes I hear a divine echo that's wrapped in the breeze, seems to say, yes, I love you very, very much. Sorry, very, very, very much as then always until death. And sometimes I hear a divine echo that wrapped in the breeze seems to say, yes, I love you very, very, very much as then, always until death. There you go.
Lovely. I mean, obviously,
Sure.
it would have done his Latin America profile good, singing on her album, I reckon.
His vocal's so smooth on it, isn't it? I mean, he's back in the zone with swing. And it's just, even though I can't understand the words, it's just smooth and classic Robbie swing. What do you think, Dan?
I remember Pete playing me this because I can't remember how we got into conversation. And he's done quite a few of these crossover songs where he's sang in tongue. But I remember Pete playing this one. So when I heard it back, I was like, "Is this?" So I text Pete. I just said Munequita Linda, and he was like, "Yeah." He said, "I was like, is that one that you played me a bit?" He was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Stunning." He was like, "How come?" I was like, "No, I just want to just heard it." Just heard it, and I thought of you, and I don't know why I thought of you, and then I remembered you played me a song that Robbie did years ago, because I thought it was new, because I'd not heard it before when he played it, because it wasn't back then when it was only in the last 5 years that he played it to me, and I think it was just before Heavy Entertainment Show. I can't remember if it was Spanish or French, but he did a translation of Angels, and he's also done it. I want to say
Spanish.
And then he did Supreme as well.
In French, yeah.
Supreme was in French. So he's done this kind of thing before with his own songs. So it was nice to hear something that wasn't a Robbie song. But obviously, the great Nat King Cole did it. And so Robbie's he's done all the others. He's done Sir Francis Albert. He's done Dean Martin, Bobby Darin, Sammy Davis. So, he's done Nat King Cole on the Christmas album.
Yeah.
But classic bit of music. And I just thought it was very sensual. And like you said, his delivery is so smooth. And you could, even though I don't know what the hell they were going on about, you could almost feel the chemistry between them. Like there was some kind of sexual tension. It sounded like, and it came across through the song as well. You don't always see music. You know what I mean? Unless there's a video.
Yeah.
But you don't really see music. But if you close your eyes and you just absorb it, and this is one of those songs where it's kind of like, this is sexy. This is nice. This is well done, well presented, and just the way that the music's very cha-cha-cha. It kind of gives it that kind of swingy, cheesy, very upbeat feel that's very current but classic at the same time.
Yeah.
See? I don't want the kids.
Yeah. It would be good to hear what some of our Spanish listeners thought of it actually at the time when it came out, and how it landed in Latin America and Spanish-speaking countries. Yeah. So if If you heard it when it came out, if you know the song, let us know what you think.
Yeah, please do.
And don't comment on my translation.
Or,
well, not mine,
or
but
on
Google's.
mine either. Well, not my accent, that's the word I'm looking for. I did French, I didn't do Spanish. So I think we've pretty much reached the end of the show.
We have?
Yeah.
We got there.
So we've got to choose our favourite track from this episode.
Yes.
And
you didn't tell me this was happening.
we always... Oh, didn't we? Oh, sorry.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Now I've got to pick favourites.
Dear.
Wonderful world. No, I'm joking.
Well, it is usual tradition to allow our guest to choose first, if you would like to, Dan. Or you don't have to, but you can go first if you wish.
Oh, yeah.
No. I'm just going to take a second to flick through what we've
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Take a minute and have a look through.
But I think... No, I know what it is. I didn't even need to think about it. When we were young.
Yeah.
Ah, why?
Just because when I heard it a couple of weeks ago for the first time, it was a brand new song to me, I think. And it just showed me how timeless Rob's vocal is. That I can hear that, which was released before
10
I
years
started doing it.
Yeah.
A year before I started doing this job, that was released. But then you hear stuff that he does nowadays, and it sounds exactly the same. But he's a lot's changed for Rob in the last 10 years. But to think of it as just being released last week, it wouldn't be a stretch of the imagination, because it almost seemed like he wrote it for his future self to say, in some perspectives. Like I took away my takeaway from it was the connection with his kids. And then when you said it was about your perception was it was a connection with the rest of the Take That band, talking about when they were young. I was like, yeah, that actually works as well. And now I'm kind of compelled on why they both make sense to me, but it could have been written yesterday.
Yeah.
It was just such a beautiful song. And it's almost made me want to go watch The Three Musketeers again.
Well, I actually downloaded it onto our Skybox to watch.
It's a good film, I think, from what I remember. We'll have to
Haven't
watch
watched
that.
it yet.
I doubt the kids have seen it, is it?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Let's do it. So, Lucy, what would you like to pick?
Well,
Would you like to go next?
I'm happy to go next if you don't mind.
Well, I've got some choices.
I'm going to pick Collision of Worlds.
Ooh.
Because it's just great fun. And obviously this is a Robbie podcast and this song is sung by Robbie. So it would be good to have that on our playlist. And yeah, it's just a really great song with great fun lyrics. But if I was picking one off Progressed, the actual Progressed album, it would be Love Love. Because that's a banger.
It is a banger. They would be my second and third, if I'm honest.
Well, it's a good job you're not picking it off of Progressed, because the first one on my list of three, I thought I'd put three down because normally we're in contention, all of us, but we're not this time. So I picked Love Love. I think it's got profound lyrics. It's very meaningful to me, and it's just a great song.
Yeah, it is.
So you agree? So that's perfect. Three there then.
Good.
Yeah.
So, just before we wrap up this episode, make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out. And also, Lucy and I would really appreciate it if you can leave us a star rating. You can do this on both Apple and Spotify podcasts. We would also love it if you could write us a short review, and you can do this on Apple. Don't forget, you can check out our episode notes for each episode and links to all tracks and videos at robbiewilliamsrewind.com. You can also email us at email@robbiewilliamsrewind.com. Please also follow and chat on our social channels. It's at RewindRobbie on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. And you can also like and follow our Facebook page, Robbie Williams Rewind. And before we return to this episode, you might also consider sending us one of your own Robbie stories for the show. Just record a short audio clip on your phone and email it to us. Please check the website for more details. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
So Dan, tell us where all the lovely listeners can find you on social media.
It's on social media. I was going to say, if they can find me, I'll leave
or your website.
I'll leave my postcode in the link, and they can just pop in for a brew. If you go on Facebook, look for Dan Budd Tribute to Robbie Williams, or DB is ISRW, because they made me change it. And on Instagram at DBAsRW, or just look for DB_AS_RW.
Great.
So thanks for listening, everyone. As usual, if you tune into the next episode, we'll be joined by our good friends Alan and Sarah, who Dan knows very well. Another married couple who are both big Robbie fans. So we became friends with them because it's quite nice going with another couple.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking about Take the Crown and Rob's comeback ballroom shows and the 3 nights he played at the O2 in 2012.
Hopefully I can get a word in edgeways with Alan there, but we'll see. We'll see how we do. Thank you very much for joining us, Dan. Obviously, we have seen you perform, and it's been nice to actually properly spend a couple of hours talking about progress, indirectly talking about Robbie, and indirectly talking about you as well. Been nice to hear your stories. So, thank you for giving up the time and joining us. And we are looking forward to seeing you very soon.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. We got there eventually. 5 hours later, we're still here saying goodbyes. But yeah, it's been an adventure, and thank you for introducing me to songs that I wouldn't have listened to, because like I said, I thought Progressed was just Progressed with a couple of extras, and little did I know that them couple of extras could have actually been an album on their own. They were that good. So thank you very much for broadening my horizons and having me on your show.
And we'll include all the links for Dan on the episode webpage, and maybe a few cheeky photos on the socials as well. I'm sure Dan will help us out with that.
Yeah.
Who, me? I don't have photos on demand. Which ones do you want?
Thanks, mate. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Robbie Williams Rewind.